Yo, what up, and welcome back to Pnoid News. Man, listen, we got a lot. There's a lot, like a lot to talk about. I've been pretty fucking busy over the past, I don't know, couple of weeks, couple of months or whatever. I was sick all of January. Like, that shit was fucking terrible. That RSV shit hit over here, man, it was fucking wild. Updates about things going on. Pop's cancer's back, so like I've been dealing with that shit. Work picked the hell back up. Like, I'll be honest with you, I worked yesterday for like 13 fucking hours and shit. I get home this morning like 8 o'clock in the morning. Fuck. It's been it's been rough. Things has been pretty bananas as far as shit's concerned. A lot of things going on at the moment. So with that being said, I wanted to stand here and cover what's going on with Donald Trump and Doge and like just all the stuff that's popping off at the moment. I feel like all of y'all would probably enjoy something like this. You know what I mean? So I think what we're going to do is, we're going to go to like the source as much as like we can, right? And we're going to like go and hit, like what's popping off with Doge, right? So, all right. So, this is what's going on with the Treasury at the moment, right? So Doge is the Department of Government and Efficiency, right? Like the name's a meme, but like it is actually making real shit going on. We'll get the U.S. aid, right? We will. We're gonna go down through like Elon Musk's Twitter feed because that's probably the best place to find exactly what's popping off. So. All right, so this is the first tweet on Elon Musk's page at the moment, right? To be clear, what Doge team and U.S. Treasury have jointly agreed makes sense is the following: require that all outgoing government payments have a payment categorization code, which is necessary in order to pass financial audits. This is frequently left blank, making audits almost impossible. All payments must also include a rationale for the payment in the comment field, which is currently left blank. Importantly, we are not yet applying any judgment to this rationale, but simply requiring that some attempt be made to explain the payment more than nothing. The do not pay list of entities known to be fraudulent or people who are dead are probable fronts for terrorist organizations or do not match congressional appropriations must actually be implemented and not ignored. Also, it can currently take up to a year to get on this list, which is far too long. This list should be updated at least weekly, if not daily. The above super obvious and necessary changes are being implemented by existing long-time career government employees, not anyone from Doge. It is ridiculous that these changes didn't exist already. Yesterday, I was told there are currently over $100 billion a year of entitlement payments to individuals with no social security number or even a temporary ID number. If accurate, this is extremely suspicious. When I asked if anyone at Treasury had a rough guess for what percentage of the number is unequivocal and obvious fraud, the consensus in the room is about half, so $50 billion a year or $1 billion a week. This is utterly insane, must be addressed immediately. Well, we all agree. Oh, let's keep this 100% honest, all right? Feds should not be paying for people who are like literally not citizens, don't have like a social security number, these type of things, right? This is the next one. Independent media in Russia and Ukraine loses their funding with U.S. aid freeze. USAID, right? I don't even know, like, bro, like this shit is fucking crazy. Like the amount of things that they found when they audited the USAID, right? Which is the United States something. I forget, to be honest with you. Basically, it's a charity ran by the U.S. government, but the truth is it's a slush fund for the CIA and, like the deep state, right? And the State Department in the end of the day. And it's fucking crazy the amount of stuff that's been going on. But we're gonna go through like this shit here. Yeah, listen, we're gonna go past all this. All right. This Representative Darrell Issa said he's going to stop these rogue judges and allow Trump and Doge to tell you where your government money is being spent. Corrupt judges protecting corruption. Yeah. This is a crazy one that he posted. 1833, Britain spent 20 million pounds or 40% of its national budget to buy freedom for slaves in the empire. The amount of money borrowed for slavery, Abolition Act, was so large and it wasn't paid off until 2015, which means that many living British citizens paid to end the slave trade. Fucking crazy. Yeah, Anthony Blinken got banned. And again, like, this is the problem with this, is when you're going through all these things, right? Here, we're going to listen to this real quick. Actually, let me see if this will, let me see where this is set up at for the audio. Alt. Shit, stupid fucking thing. Right, legit. Properties. Okay. Still being retarded. All right, so that seems like it's not so bad. So, hang on, let me see if I can switch it over to the other one. I don't know if it will let me. Nope. Sorry, fellas. I know this is probably breaking your eardrums at the moment. Let me get back. All right, there we go. Okay. So we're going to have to listen to this through the headphones, which I'm fine with. You know what I mean? End of the day, that's fine with me. Let me throw my headphones in, because I'll be honest with you, I ain't fully prepared for the stream because I didn't know exactly how the fuck I was going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Right, so let's go back to the page, right, where it's at. All right. And we're going to listen to this video because
Mr. Secretary, we are inside the cash room at the Treasury Department. It is almost impossible to overstate how important the work that is done in this building is to the U.S. financial system. Yet right now, there is widespread concern about the Doge team's access to sensitive payment systems. Are you worried at all that that access and that tinkering of the payment systems could affect the Treasuries market or cause any disruption?
Good. Well, Saleha, thank you for asking me about that, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. First of all, when you say the Doge team, these are Treasury employees. It is 2 Treasury employees, one of whom I personally interviewed in his final round. There is no tinkering with the system. They are on read-only. They are looking. They can make no changes. It is an operational program to suggest improvement. So we make 1.3 billion payments a year. And this is 2 employees who are working with a group of long-standing employees.
The letter that the Treasury Department sent earlier this week talked about how the team currently does not have access to change the system. Have they at any point this year had the ability to make changes?
Absolutely not. This is no different than you would have at a private company. And by the way, the ability to change the system sits over at the Federal Reserve. So it doesn't even lie in this building. So they could make suggestions on how to change the system, but we don't even run the system.
And if they ask for, if they were...
Yo, listen. We're getting into some Ron Paul territory here, bro. Like this whole like audit the Fed shit. Y'all can tell me in the comments if y'all think that like this is coming or not, whether y'all think we're actually going to like audit the Fed, because I don't know, right? This has been a long standing thing, right? Of fucking going like we need to audit the Fed. But I'll be honest with you, I've been paying a lot of attention to the Fed over the past, you know, I mean, probably 8, 9 years, something like that, probably 10, something like this, since I've been running this fucking channel. And anything that you kind of want to find out about the Fed, you really can. It's not one of those things. Like a Treasury is much harder to get like details about than the Fed, because the Fed releases a lot of its shit like all the time. Like you can go to the Fed.com or whatever it is, the Fed.gov, right? Like you can go to the KC Fed or New York Fed or whatever it is, and they will tell you everything that's on their fucking books and what they're doing in their operations. Now, granted, they're not going to stand here and tell you about like their backdoor shit to keep like certain companies running. But that's only because, like, you know, if a company is taking a loan or like a payout from the Fed because they're in trouble, they'll get eaten by the market, which means, you know, I mean, massive amounts of problems for the system as a whole. Right. And yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that. It is what it is. But let's keep going.
Request the ability to change the system. Would you grant that?
No, again, they have no ability to change the system. I have no ability to grant that change. That they can make suggestions, then it would go to the Federal Reserve, and just like any large ERP system, There would be tests, there would be this, there would be that, and then the Fed will determine whether these changes are robust or not.
As the Secretary of Treasury, you also oversee the IRS. Do you know what kind of access the team has to IRS data or individual taxpayer data?
Well, I'm glad you asked that too, because look, the IRS, the privacy issue is one of the biggest issues. And over the past 4 years, we've seen a lot of leaks out of there. The IRS systems are quite poor. When I started in college in 1980, I learned the program in COBOL. I think there are 12 different systems at the IRS that still run on COBOL, but as of now, there is no engagement at the IRS.
Elon Musk just half an hour ago tweeted out that Treasury needs to stop approving certain payments. Has your staff tried to block any payments here at Treasury?
We have not, and I'm glad you asked that too. And just to put in perspective, Elon and I are completely aligned in terms of cutting waste and increasing accountability and transparency for the American people. I believe that this Doge program in my adult life is one of the most important audits of government or changes to government structure we have seen. That when I was in my 20s, we had the Grace Report, and there's some great suggestions that came out of that, never implemented. Under Clinton and Gore, I think it was to government efficiency or reduce government. Nothing happened. So President Trump came in, there's a big agenda, and I think that there are gigantic cost savings for the American people here. And I think it's unfortunate the way the media wants to lampoon what is going on. These are highly trained professionals. This is not some roving band going around doing things. This is methodical, and it is going to yield big savings.
Yeah, man, listen, like this shit fucking beautiful. Okay, so like all right, let's, fucking all right, let's keep rocking because we got more, right? As I said, like we're gonna just go through like Elon Musk's Twitter page, right? We're literally just 8 hours ago at this point. So like we're going to keep going about all this type of shit. All right. So this here's from Nick Sorter. Elon Musk reposted it. Update. Elon Musk says FEMA's potentially illegal payments will now be paused for review. Biden's FEMA gave over $1 billion to NGOs who were focused on facilitating illegal immigration. This in addition to the use of FEMA money meant for Americans suffering from disasters, a luxury fund to fund luxury hotels for illegal. Notably, FEMA funneled money to the Red Cross, which was used to assist illegals in getting to the U.S.-Mexico border, literally providing them maps to get to entry points. And that's just scratching the surface. Many corrupt officials are sweating right now. Yeah. Right. Like all this shit is going on. Yeah. Like what happened down in North Carolina, right, when that hurricane hit and they gave everybody $750, but the FEMA had been putting up illegal immigrants in the hotels. And I'll be honest with you, like even in my area, I know that I went to a store here recently. I don't know, probably like a month or two ago, something like that. I was across from Walmart, this little convenience store. And like me and the cashier got to talking or whatever, and he was a white dude, and there was some fucking Sri Lankan sitting here playing the fucking slots. And he's like, yeah, these fucking guys sit here all day. The fucking government just puts them up in hotels and gives them a stipend. They sit and fucking gamble all day. Yeah, like this is what the hell it's been. You know what I mean? Like this is, what the fucking situation is. All right, so let's see what the fuck he's saying here, right? Fucking with this shit.
Reform of the tax code. It would make sense because it's extremely complicated and there are too many loopholes. I'm often pitched on these loopholes. That's how I know they exist. And I'm like, that sounds pretty shady. I don't think we should do that. They're like, well, lots of other people are getting away with it. Well, like, yeah, but I still don't think we should do it. Reform of the tax code. It would make sense because it's extremely complicated.
Yeah, I fucking agree. Right. Shit. What the fuck is this shit?
I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote? In 2 weeks, I went from the highest high to being unemployed. Lost my job last night, got a phone call. The repercussions of what Elon Musk are doing with the USAID has real repercussions for real people. For the last 7 years, I have been a shift lead on Project Bus, where we studied to find out if the wheels on the bus went round around or not. And all of a sudden, Elon, who's not even a
Yo, man, listen, I'm trying to find, like, you know how hard it is to find, like, news about this shit? Like, legit. Like, I'm not sure, like, exactly where to get this shit. You know what I mean? Like, where all to get all the stuff, right? I'm assuming just, like, go to Elon Musk's page, you know? Because, like, I haven't seen, like, a proper thing. You know what I mean?
Figured out a way to get involved in this USA. I mean, everybody's on the take except you. What's going on?
If I had known, I would have started an NGO. Where's my NGO? You had every.
Yo, I thought the same exact thing. I'll be honest with you. I was like, bro, listen, I should have did something. You know what I mean? Like, I had no idea that there was this much amount of money that you, because my boy was telling me, he's like, bro, you just got to apply for these government grants. And I was like, yo, this sounds fucking crazy. Right. And I don't like fucking dealing with the government as a whole. You know what I mean? Like, I hate filling out fucking paperwork. Like, real shit. You know, fucking hang on. All right. So, okay, here's another one. Treasury leads in fraud and waste. Nearly 24% of budget loss. The Treasury Department is hemorrhaging 23.87% of its budget to waste, fraud, and abuse, far more than any other agency. Meanwhile, labor, 11.68%, Veterans Affairs, 10.33%, agriculture, 9.7%, follow as top offenders, funding billions of dollars into mismanagement and fraud. Defense, 1.85%, Homeland Security, 0.89%. Yet Treasury is burning nearly a quarter of its budget. All while prior leadership let fraud run unchecked. How many billions of taxpayer dollars were stolen while bureaucrats looked the other way? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, that shit's fucking crazy. So was, all right. Yeah, fucking, so was USAID basically a form of money laundering taxpayers' money into far left organizations? Probably. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that's usually how that shit works. Government bureaucracy run the risk of multiplying infinity as somebody actually works to optimize. Yeah. That tends to be how it operates. Nah, see, this is actually not how this works, right? None of this is how this operates, right? If you look at what ends up happening is you end up having just way too many people up here, right? And then everything's really, really small on the bottom. You know what I mean? Jim Jordan has taken the EU to task over its censorship, heavy digital services. The Digital Services Act, in a letter to the EU Commission, demands answers on how this law will impact U.S. tech companies, especially ongoing investigations into Meta and X. Jordan is implying, along with the EU's framing, calls out the DSA's censorship provisions and warns that because global platforms often apply the same rules worldwide, law created de facto global censorship standards. Yeah, that's not how that works. Fucking dumb. Okay. One of the things is that you have a steady, all right, fucking hang on.
These time is that you have a steady increase in the amount of bureaucracy. The size of the government grows. The laws and regulations that are put in place get larger every year. So it stands to reason that, you know, if you have regulators are going to add more regulations every year. Lawmakers will add more laws every year. The cleansing process normally for getting rid of nonsensical laws and regulations is war. Now, obviously, we'd prefer to not have war drive the reformation of government. So in the absence of war, you have to have something like what we have formed here in the U.S., a Department of Government Efficiency, in order to get rid of laws and regulations. Well, with laws, we have to require, obviously, the consent of Congress. But for regulations, this can be done at the executive branch level, is to re-examine the vast body of regulations and get rid of those where there's more harm than good, of which there are many. And then reducing the size of the government, and then also balancing the budget so that we are not driving the country into bankruptcy. These things are all very hard, and I want to be clear, like, we may indeed fail in this objective. That's why I described it as an extremely difficult battle. This has never succeeded before. So prior attempts to reduce the size of bureaucracy to make government more efficient have generally failed. Uh, Even when parties are elected for that.
All right. Yeah, and I agree, right? This might be something that you can't fucking do. You know what I mean? You know, like it is what it is. When the CEO of USAID's Internews pressured advertisers to create exclusion lists that only fund approved news sources, she was carrying out USAID's former policy goal of USAID partners do advertiser outreach to redirect funding. I mean, I don't fucking, yeah, whatever. Right? Yeah. All right. Between fields is superpower. I do find a good source in it that you read about a whole bunch of fields you can cross fertilize from one field to another. It takes SpaceX and Tesla. The automotive industry is very good at manufacturing. In terms of manufacturing complex machines at volume, the automotive industry is the best. Now, the rocket industry, the space industry is very good at advanced materials and making things very light. So taking advanced materials, mass optimization concepts from the space industry and applying them to automotive, and taking automotive mass manufacturing techniques and applying them to space was like a superpower. Yeah. Fucking like, yo, this has been going on for years though. Right? That's been a normal thing. Treasury staff tried to stop fraud for years, but management blocked them. Do you want to credit the working level people in the treasuries who wanted to do this for many years, but been stopped by prior management? Everything at Treasury was geared towards complaint minimization. People who receive money don't complain, but people who don't receive money, especially fraudsters, complain very loudly, so the fraud was allowed to continue. Yeah. And the Fed, Ron Paul. Listen, yeah. Like, it is, man, listen, this is Ron Paul's revenge is Donald Trump. Everybody knows this. Essentially, for general prosperity, deregulate. I mean, that's hit or miss. You know what I mean? Fuck. Like, yo, listen. Let me get a translate post. Vast majority of independent journalists are in fact part of a global money laundering operation that promoting the globalist agenda along with NGOs funded in the same scheme. We already had reported this before, not as official confirmation with new names, figures, and documents. Yeah, like, yo, 100%. Right. I mean, it's not so much that it's a global money laundering scheme as much as it's this is the cathedral at work, right? In the end of the day, right? Like we all know what the cathedral is, you know what I'm saying? It's media plus the government plus, you know what I mean, like fucking like universities, right? And it's just shit that continues to like feed on itself, you know what I mean? See here. Like the CFO of the US government, if the CIO denied access to spending information, how can he do his job? Right. The people elected Donald Trump who appointed Scott Bessent to run a treasury, not bureaucrat. New York Judge Paul Engelmeyer just forbade all political appointments, including Treasury Secretary John Scott Bessent from accessing Department of Treasury data, all based on blue and on conspiracy theories. These theories couldn't be challenged because the order was ex parte. Right. Goddamn. Meaning Trump's lawyers weren't warned they couldn't weigh in. Only Democrat attorneys general were allowed to argue. The judge cites no law or logic to support this unprecedented order because it defies both. The judge's ruling is, in essence, that Scott Bessent simply occupies a ceremonial position without real power like the King of England. This is a grenade thrown. Shit we've been talking about, right? This is a grenade thrown into the functioning of the Treasury Department. It forbids the elected government from accessing information about the budget and finances. Instead, only the permanent deep state government can know what's being spent. It means Scott Bessent's subordinates have far more power than Scott Bessent does. Democratic pundits who whine about the Constitution are liars and will shed it at the first chance they get. For now, the order is only for next week. But if the court tries to make it permanent, the Trump administration should absolutely consider defying it. Better yet, SCOTUS should bar the judge from ever hearing similar cases again, and every Democrat lawyer involved should be sanctioned. Jailed. Let's keep this all the way funky. Let's keep it all the way 100 here, all right? You know, in reality, what should be happening, right, is like these people who are found should be like fucking hung. Like, yo, letting your enemies live is never a good idea. Right? It's like Machiavelli says. He said, if you're going to injure a man, injure him so badly that he can't come back to hurt you. You know what I mean? That's the reality of things. And, you know, when you just kind of cast them off or, you know, you send them into exile, whatever the case is, then people will be back. You know what I mean? Like that's just the reality of shit. Fucking dumbass post. All right, Doge is hitting unnecessary roadblock. U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmeyer's ex parte preventing Doge from accessing critical Treasury Department data showcases a clear overreach by the judiciary. This decision, influenced by a lawsuit from 19 Democrat-led states, lacks substantial justification and hinders Musk's effort to streamline government processes for the benefits of all. The temporary block, as reported by multiple news outlets, not only delays progress, but also questions the balance between judicial authority and executive function. Elon's vision for a more transparent and effective government should not be curtailed by what appears to be political maneuvering disguised as illegal action. Yeah, he's not 100% wrong. You know what I'm saying? Keeping this a buck. Do I eat ass on the first date? No. Yeah, and I agree with you, SN. I 100% agree with you. Right. Like I really do like fucking agree. Fucking. Right. That's, just is what it is. You know what I mean? At the moment. Right. Let's keep going. You know what I mean? But like more shit. Elon says that both Doge and the Treasury Department have agreed to moving forward. All outgoing government payments must have clear written identification. Yeah. We already read that one. USAID funded Internews CEO brought pushes for global advertising exclusion lists. Look what they did to X. Like what they did to X. Disinformation makes money. We need to follow that money. We need to work with the global advertising industry because a lot of those dollars go into pretty bad content. So you can work really hard on exclusion lists. Or exclusion, bro. Listen, hang on, hold up. Let's do this.
Disinformation makes money, and that's one of the. We need to follow that money, and we need to work with and particularly the global advertising industry. That a lot of those dollars go to pretty bad content, and so you can work really hard on exclusion lists or inclusion lists to sort of really try to focus ad dollars and challenge the global advertising industry all around the world to focus their ad dollars towards the good news and information, the accurate and relevant news and information. Disinformation makes money, and that's one of the. We need to follow.
Yeah, I mean that's to be. Like expected from these people. You know what I mean? Like we've heard all this before. Or Engelmeyer. USA-funded Internews went from media organization George Soros to overthrow governments in Eastern Europe, calling for advertising boycotts to censor free speech. The textbook example of U.S. regime change tactics being redirected against domestic populism and American citizens. In the 1990s, Internews partners with Soros Foundation to fund media organizations in post-Soviet nations, playing a pivotal role in the color revolutions in the 2000s in Serbia, Georgia, and Ukraine. During Georgia's Rhodes Revolution, Internews funded and trained journalists at Rostovi 2 TV, the leading channel driving the uprising. Media was very good at informing the public about what was going on and had a huge role in calling people into the streets. Mark Brent, former Internews director for Georgia. By 2003 in Ukraine, Internews had conducted 220 media training programs, conducted over 2,800 and trained over 2,800 journalists and produced more than 220 television and 1,000 radio programs. It also funded Telekrita, an online outlet that played a central role in the 2004 Orange Revolution. After Brexit and Donald Trump's election in 2016, Internews, now working with the USAID-funded World Economic Forum, shifted its focus to pushing advertiser boycotts to suppress online dissent. What was once a U.S.-funded operation to overthrow foreign regimes is now being used to silence American citizens and dismantle Trump's populist MAGA movement. The price tag: U.S. has funded over $470 million in tax and dollars into Internews. It's not a lot, but it's a lot when you think about it from like our perspective of like, we'll never have $470 million. Yeah, this angle market dude needs to go. Yeah, I agree. Majority party Republicans are acquiescing to the administration's lawlessness at every turn, and just a few of them would stand up to anything. It would matter. As SpaceX don't care. There should be consequences for racist behavior, but cancellation should be the last one. It doesn't heal racists. It just hides them, makes you feel righteous, but it's not effective. Yo, by the way, man, I was at the store today. I went over and what did I get? I got like fucking, I was looking for cat food and I didn't fucking find any. The cat needed food. But like fucking, so I went and I fucking got I got out of the store, and the black dude was like, man, listen, bro, like, yo, fucking, where's the nearest hotel? And I was like, yo, you go down to Eisenhower, man. It's like fucking, about like a mile and a half down that way. He's like, bro, you want to earn some money real quick, man? I'm like, bro, listen, I'm going the opposite direction. He's like, come on, man, it's Black History Month. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Nobody gives a fuck about your shit. All right, so Anna Sullivan, director of Internews Networks, also serves as the VP of Communications at Reddit, CC Reddit's Lies. Yeah, fucking Internews Network. Where are you at? Director compensation is $0. Why don't she make any money? That's fucking weird. Oh. Okay, so Swisher and Galloway are threatening talented young software engineers who gave up high. Fuck, hold up, bro. Hang on a minute. Let's try.
I want to know who are these young, highly intelligent, highly motivated zealots following them into these buildings and shutting off payments to schools and Head Starts. I want to know their names.
Well, they're trying to. The local officials are trying to make that official. The newly installed Trump are threatening people for naming their names, just so you know. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah, but they can unmask CIA officers who put their lives in harm's way to try and keep our Americans safe. I want to know who their names are, and I want to see Democratic governors saying, I'm going to do everything I can in my power to use the full faith and to the letter of the law to put you folks in prison. I think what you're doing is trespassing. I think this is a coup. And be clear, just because the new insurrectionist who was elected, I don't believe this is legal. And I'm going to hold the people accountable who are trespassing and part of a coup accountable. To just sit back and say this is horrible and this is unlawful, we need to go gangster here and say, look, we are not negotiating around this stuff. This is illegal. This is a coup. This is the unlawful seizure of power. We are not going to engage in these bullshit, ridiculous arguments over, Gaza and Greenland. We are going to hold the people accountable. Here are their names. Here are their faces. And we have contacted the local authorities in where these kids live, these young adults, and we are going to hold them accountable.
And the question is, a lot of them are like, what do we do? They're literally asking me, what do we do to stop him? I was like, I just don't. I was like, you actually don't have the means to do so, because these poor people are in these agencies. And when these idiots come in, these children, these arrogant little pricks come in and say, we're going to call the federal marshals, or the president has ordered you to step aside. They kind of have to, you have to be resistant and be walked out by security. And then security doesn't know which one to listen to, right? Essentially.
I'd like to see all, whatever it is, 48 or 49 U.S. senators and any Republicans that want to join. I'd like to see a couple hundred members of Congress go to the fucking building where this is and demand to go in and physically stop this and let them arrest you.
I like what Scott Galloway said on his TED Talk, right? I do. I give him credit there. You know what I mean? Where he called out the boomers and, fucking sat here and said how they robbed their children's future, all these type of things, right? But this fucking bullshit, right? Real shit is fucking nonsense. The fact that we're cutting off, USA, listen, it's these boomer pro-American bullshit fucking nonsense. These we got to be the world's fucking leader. We have to, have global governance or global leadership. Bro, that means world domination. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Fuck, we already seen it. Okay. She just wants the fraud and waste to continue. Hold up.
Government efficiency have accessed the personal private information of tens of millions of Americans and sensitive data about public and private entities, Social Security numbers, addresses, tax returns, and more. This unelected group, led by the world's richest man, is not authorized to have this information, and they explicitly sought this unauthorized access to illegally block payments that millions of Americans rely on, payments for health care, child care, and other essential programs. Today, Democratic attorneys general are taking action to keep Americans' personal data secure, to keep sensitive information about Americans private, and to uphold our Constitution. We have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration for giving unauthorized individuals access to these immensely sensitive records in violation of the law. President Trump does not have the power to give our private information away to whomever he wants. And he does not have the power to cut federal spending that Congress approved, much less to do so by giving the richest man in the world the keys to all Americans' most sensitive information. As Democratic Attorneys General, we are suing to stop this unprecedented and unauthorized attack and to protect your personal information. As I've said before, no one is above the law, and I will not hesitate to uphold the rule of law and protect New Yorkers. Thank you.
Well, that was fucking useless. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like legally fucking retarded and shit, right? Hang on, sorry, I was trying to like log into my fucking Discord. All right, so let's listen to fucking what CNN has to say.
It's needed policy, and it's what people have been asking for years. And honestly, politicians have talked about doing this for a very long time. The only difference is they never do it. You've had presidents from both parties say, I'm going to make the government smaller. I'm going to go in and look at the bureaucracy and make it more efficient. I'm going to trim where I can, trim the fat. No one ever does it. Reports are written, committees meet, people have phone calls, press conferences are held, and nothing ever happens except the government gets larger and larger. Lo and behold, Donald Trump shows up and throws out the sledgehammer, the instrument of destruction, Elon Musk, to actually do it and do it at lightning speed. This is precisely what voters have been demanding. Is he going to break a few eggs along the way? That's fine. They'll have plenty of political latitude to do it because the action is what's wanted by the American people. Well, I think certainly Republicans are going to support what effectively amounts to the most aggressive and needed government audit we've ever had, no matter what agency it is. So, yes, I think the party is by and large going to support this. I mean, I think the Pentagon is an agency that absolutely should be looked at like any other. I don't want Elon Musk or anyone else going in and saying we need to shrink the size of our military or somehow reduce our national capacity to wage war or defend the nation. But you can't look at a bureaucracy this size and tell me that there is not waste, fraud, and abuse that could be ferreted out if somebody like Elon Musk and his team were willing to go in and do it. Of course they're going to find things. They'll find things in every single agency. And I think the American people are asking for that. And I have no doubt that you could get rid of some waste, fraud, and abuse in the Pentagon and have no impact on our national security whatsoever.
Yo,
In fact,
what
maybe
up,
you might
fam
enhance
trees?
Our national
What up?
security by getting rid of some
what the fuck?
Watch party in his stream. Things where money's being spent on things.
Word, I'm saying, listen, you know what I mean? Like, I figured I'd come in here and say what up to y'all motherfuckers while I went through all this shit. You know what I mean?
Are you live still, sir?
Yeah, I am still live.
Yeah. I just heard him on the fucking playback.
What up, YouTube?
Yo. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, I was going through, like, Elon Musk's Twitter feed. Remember how we said we were going to try and cover, like, all the shit that was going on, General?
Yeah.
You said you wanted to be part of it?
Sure, man.
Yeah, right. Fucking, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, I'm only like 12 hours ago. Fucking Twitter stream. Or how long I've
Half an hour,
something like that. Right?
Yeah. So we got the black millionaire, we have the prison guard, we have the Southern man, and we have the Anglo that really likes Vietnamese women.
That's right.
Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about Elon Musk.
I agree.
Oh, hey, another South African. I love that guy.
Well, good.
I mean,
Yeah.
as the Southern man on the stream, I do have to say I do declare.
Well, I do
Now, what's
declare.
your
Bless
opinion
your
on
heart.
Sweet Tea?
All right, so here's another
Bless
tweet.
your heart, boy. I tell you what.
Yeah, here's another tweet. Democratic Party. So that wishes their top burn. Crashed RFK Biden with primary. Now they're relentless, crashing top, fraud and waste Xbox report back to the public with.
True enough.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Did y'all hear the part about fucking Scott Galloway?
I don't know who Scott Galloway is.
Is that Big Balls?
Scott Galloway, the dude who he did a TED talk where like he called out the boomers, you know what I'm saying,
Yes.
and like all that type of
Yes.
shit. Right.
He's a professor who teaches kids to be based.
Yeah, fucking you want to watch a live stream, I can play it for you.
Yeah, do you want to share your
I want to
screen?
know who are these young, highly intelligent.
Man, you gotta increase the bit quality of your streams at some point. Like it's like running at 300p.
Fucking care.
I mean, this is Trucker Live, basically.
Truckers Live. I forgot it's Truckers Live.
All right, so okay,
Yeah, who's Tom Pease? This is fucking Budweiser.
Yeah, this is Budweiser. Don't want to hear this?
Yeah, I'm in there.
All right, you're in there.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
Highly motivated zealots following him into these buildings and shutting off payments to schools and Head Starts. I want to know their names.
Well,
I
you
want
know,
to see
they're trying to, the local officials are trying to make that official. The newly installed Trump are threatening people for naming their names, just so you know. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, but they can unmask CIA officers who put their lives in harm's way to try and keep our Americans safe. I want to know who their names are, and I want to see Democratic governors saying, "I'm going to do everything I can in my power to use the full faith and to the letter of the law to put you folks in prison." I think what you're doing is trespassing. I think this is a coup. And be clear, just because the new insurrectionist who was elected, I don't believe this is legal. And I'm going to hold the people accountable who are trespassing and a part of a coup accountable. To just sit back and say this is horrible and this is unlawful, we need to go gangster here and say, look, we are not negotiating around this stuff. This is illegal. This is a coup. This is the unlawful seizure of power. We are not going to engage in these bullshit, ridiculous arguments over, Gaza and Greenland. We are going to hold the people accountable. Here are their names. Here are their faces. And we have contacted the local authorities in where these kids live, these young adults, and we are going to hold them accountable.
And the question is, a lot of them are like, what do we do? They're literally asking me, what do we do to stop him? I was like, I just don't. I was like, you actually don't have the means to do so, because these poor people are in these agencies. And when these idiots come in, these children, these arrogant little pricks come in and say, we're going to call the federal marshals, or the president has ordered you to step aside. They kind of have to, you have to be resistant and be walked out by security. And then security doesn't know which one to listen to, right? Essentially.
I'd like to see all, whatever it is, 48 or 49 U.S. senators and any Republicans that want to join. I'd like to see a couple hundred members of Congress go to the fucking building where this is and demand to go in and physically stop this and let them arrest you. I want
and get arrested.
Why is it that the Democrats wanted to reduce the voting age down to like 15 or 16 or whatever the fuck, and now they're like, oh no, but they're 19, they're just kids. What the hell?
Because young people have no connection to the economy and only care about social problems.
I mean, like, these are basically just kids with like fucking heavy computer ability and like basic fucking like accounting knowledge.
I can tell you that 4chan is a fan of the Big Balls guy. They like him.
Who?
The engineer from Doge, that I guess he said some racist or anti-Semitic things.
He said, and I quote, keep something along the lines of like keep Indian hate going. And,
yeah, he said that, and he also said all I'm asking for is a eugenic immigration policy. Is that too much to ask, or something like that?
That, and he did go by the alias Big Balls, so that's been all over fucking mainstream news with them having to go by his alias.
It's a good name.
I enjoy it when the news
You
I
know,
feel like every one of them should change their name to Hitler did nothing wrong.
We've entered it. Finally, the internet has completely
so they're
permeated
that,
real
like,
life.
Gen Z Doge team, huh?
Here's
The
CNN.
fact that, well, to be fair, the fact that people are going, hey, let's bring big balls back, unironically, and that's being used as a headline is fucking amazing.
Well, that's part of the show, right? That's how you integrate the youth because they're old enough now to not
When
consider
did
that
big balls?
ridiculous.
When did big balls come out of favor? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, I don't
Right?
know when big balls like were not, what I mean, like positive. That was never like
This
not
is
a positive.
this is how idiocracy gets started, though. When your
I'm down,
news
dude. I'm down. 100.
ends up having like
I was gonna
big
say
balls
I'm
on the
smart enough
Chiron.
to survive this shit, nigga. I'm gonna be living in the sewers.
Fine with it. Like,
These
all right,
pricks who take themselves way too seriously for way too long.
yeah, I agree. Like, listen, these are people. You know, what I mean, we're all people. All of us shit and fuck and piss. You know, what I mean, like it is what it. Like your mama took a load in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. You know, you can
Well, hold
either
on.
accept that fact or like, you know, what I mean, like not and live in fucking delusions. But that is the reality of the matter.
No, that's misinformation. I was told black people don't shit; they molt.
Yeah.
Walter?
Walter.
Wait, any creature that doesn't shit molts?
Yes.
That's science.
Oh, because
I'm not a
snakes
fucking
molt and they
scientist.
also
I
shit.
run a-
Well, they're the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, they were created by the devil. They
Yeah,
What about
and birds,
shrimp? Like
birds
shrimp's
molt
got that
and
like
shit too.
motherfucking like poop track.
Birds don't
Yeah.
molt.
Yes, they do.
What fucking does? Yo, okay. So we know what
Yeah, they
does and does both, right? Like, but what does and doesn't shit? What molts and doesn't shit?
Nothing doesn't shit. There's
Sharks.
nothing on Earth that
Sharks.
doesn't shit.
Well,
Sharks
there's
don't
those
shit.
mites that live in your skin. that
Sharks
doesn't
shit. They have anuses.
Are you sure? They
Yes.
don't
There
piss
was
though.
like there's a mite that like lives on your skin and
Sharks
eats
piss,
dead
too.
skin cells, and it
They
it
don't shit.
eats-
That's why they're so angry.
Sea sponges don't shit.
That's
There
it.
you go.
They're
Boom.
not even real animals.
No science wins.
Here's CNN.
Look, I think this is
Listen what they got to say.
absolutely America first. It's needed policy, and it's what people have been asking for years. And honestly,
Shit,
politicians have talked about doing this for a very long time. The only difference is they never do it. You've had presidents from both parties say, I'm going to make the government smaller. I'm going to go in and look at the bureaucracy and make it more efficient. I'm going to trim where I can, trim the fat. No one ever does it. Reports are written, committees meet, people have phone calls, press conferences are held. And nothing ever happens except the government gets larger and larger. Lo and behold, Donald Trump shows up and throws out the sledgehammer, the instrument of destruction, Elon Musk, to actually do it and do it at lightning speed. This is precisely what voters have been demanding. Is he going to break a few eggs
Yep.
along the way? That's fine.
Yeah,
They'll
we
have
need more
plenty of
Indian
political
migrant
latitude to do it because the action is what's wanted by the American people. Well, I think certainly Republicans are going to support what effectively amounts to the most aggressive and needed government audit we've ever had. No matter what agency it is. So yes, I think the party is by and large going to support this. I mean, I think the Pentagon is an agency that absolutely should be looked at like any other. I don't want Elon Musk or anyone else going in and saying we need to shrink the size of our military or somehow reduce our national capacity to wage war or defend the nation. But you can't look at a bureaucracy this size and tell me that there is not waste, fraud, and abuse that could be ferreted out if somebody like Elon Musk and his team were willing to go in and do it. Of course they're going to find things. They'll find things in every single agency. And I think the American people are asking for that. And I have no doubt that you could get rid of some waste, fraud, and abuse in the Pentagon and have no impact on our national security whatsoever. And in fact, maybe you might enhance our national security by getting rid of some duplicative bureaucracy or some things where money's being spent on things it shouldn't be spent on, maybe redirect those things to more mission critical items.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just true. And I mean, Doge, it's not like an official government agency. Elon Musk is basically just playing advisor to Trump. Like at the end of the day, all the decisions come down to Trump. It's not like Elon Musk has actual official governmental power. I think it's all right.
Wait, pause. Weren't other government agencies birthed out of an executive order like the ATF, the IRS, and shit like that?
Yeah, they were ratified later in time.
They came from Congress.
Also, I think you're underestimating how much power these corporations and like oligarchs like Elon Musk actually have in the government. He can do a lot of shit, to be quite honest. He has the influence and the money.
I mean,
Well, I'm sure.
sunlight's the best disinfectant.
I'm sure that the Elon Musk won't be tackling, the amount of money that the government gives in tax credits for electric vehicles. I'm sure he'll stay away from that one. But otherwise, I'm sure he'll do a good job.
I mean, I agree with Tom. Sunlight's the best disinfectant. That's why you don't see ugly bitches like Joy Reid go out in public during the day.
Are they like vampires or something?
How do you think?
It needs to be done.
I'll just rewind. All right, we're gonna listen to like this.
Companies like this are poised to perhaps drive more business from this administration at a time where Doge is going in and Elon Musk is going in and sort of taking that Silicon Valley ethos of moving fast and breaking things?
Well, listen, I'm, as you know, a huge fan of Doge. I have a lot of friends involved in Doge and have been doing my best to help them. There's so much waste in government. There's so much to cut. Companies like Palantir and Anduril actually do better when you cut the waste, because what happens is that if you are forced to use your money more efficiently, if you are forced to say, we're going to have to do this twice as efficiently, 10 times as efficiently, that's when Palantir and Anduril win. Like, you literally have things they're deploying that are a tenth the cost that are better. And so if in this new administration, by the way, Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense, he was very clear. He wants to have competition. He wants the best ideas to win. He wants I don't think he's not going to favor new things versus legacy companies. He's going to favor whatever the best solution is. And that means companies like Anduril and like Palantir are going to keep growing really fast. It means you're going to cut a lot of other nonsense that's really crony and shouldn't be there.
I agree. Right. There's like I was on Substack earlier and I was responding to a post. I think it was from Matt Taibbi, and said fucking like, what is this? Why, like, something about Adam Schiff should be investigated for his Russia collusion hoax, right? And I said, listen, look up Igor Pasternak, right? He's a Ukrainian fucking gun runner and a guy who has a blimp company with contracts from fucking DARPA, who was a major contributor to fucking Adam Schiff's fucking campaign. You know what I mean? Like, that's all you really got to do. This dude has a contract to make the MWAC 47, which me and Cappy have discussed before. There's a lot of that type.
Pretend like I don't know what the MWAC 37 is.
47. It's a AK-47 variant where you can switch the barrel out and shoot 5.56.
Ah.
My mic isn't on. Okay, do you know CMMG? Basically, they make a AR that takes AK mags, and it was made for the Ukrainian area, simply because it's between the East and the West, so it's AR-15 tolling from the West with an Eastern-style cartridge. That being 7.62 by 39. But yeah, that's all she wrote.
I feel you. Oh, by the way, did I not the black dude fucking across the street?
Nope.
Yeah, all right. So I went over to the store. I was trying to find like cat food because my cat was out of food. Right. And I went over to the store and they didn't have cat food there. So I came back out and like there was like a homeless black guy standing there. Right? And he asked me where the nearest hotel was. And I was like, it's like a mile down the road to make a fucking, and you get to, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole bunch of hotels there. Right. And he was like, man, listen, you want to earn some money or whatever? And I was like, nah, man, listen, I ain't taking nobody for a ride. I'm going the opposite direction. I'm going down to Cameron. Right. And he was like, yo, come on, man. It's Black History Month. I said, I don't give a fuck about your goddamn history month. Get the fuck out of here with your nonsense.
Hey, I'm just saying, we shouldn't be celebrating it on leap years.
You should have just extended out your
why
hand
wouldn't
and
you
said, "Thank
celebrate
for,
it on leap
the cotton
years?"
gin and
Because it's the 3/4 compromise.
Well, yeah, but black guys can jump, so it's leap year.
you should have said thank you for peanut butter and moved on.
Well, I think I don't know if you've talked about it already in the stream, but the
Guys, let me introduce.
Taking down of U.S. aid has been huge. I don't know if they're gonna it makes sense. That's one of the first things they went after. I think that's probably going to be the biggest thing. Like, I'm sure they'll look into Pentagon or whatever, but all this fucking bullshit from U.S. aid, all this money that's been going to random places. I mean, it looks to me like it's a giant money laundering scheme, really.
Funding transgender
not-
shows in Colombia. You don't understand. We have to fund.
It's
the
very
trannies in
important
Colombia.
for national security.
It's not a money laundering, right? What it is it's a slosh fund, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a bit of both, honestly.
I feel like
It's
y'all don't know
corrupt.
what like money.
No,
Money
I mean,
laundering is illegal gains that you put through in a legit business to be able to declare it for a large fee. Like usually more than half of it goes away. This is just using the system with loopholes to convert tax funds into payments to your friends and buddies, and the expansion of the nouveau
It's
riche.
not even friends and
necessitates
buddies.
that we need these things.
Not even friends.
It's when
and
you
buddies.
leave.
Right,
It's when you leave
promotion.
spare
I
change
disagree.
in your pocket and
No.
send your clothes.
No. What this is this is like they're promoting the management class across the fucking world, changing the world to be fucking work. Right? They're like putting out propaganda in like in Europe and Africa and like all these places. Right? Like when they give money to like fucking Pakistan for, what I mean, like transsexual awareness or whatever, and Pakistan don't give any fucks whatsoever about that. This is literally a way of them being able to give money to like fucking their organizations that will promote their fucking ideology and put people through fucking colleges and journalism, put stories out that they need to fucking hear, propagandize the people to do the thing that they want them to do. That's what this shit is. Not money laundering. It's not some dumbass fucking thing where they're giving money to their buddies. It's literally them promoting their fucking management lifestyle. Right?
Well, all right, I'll agree with you. It is both, but that is the primary motivation. They also get to pay, their in family to head it up, and
Oh, I mean,
they don't.
nepotism always be a thing.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So this is what I bet at least part of what is happening, right? You go over to I don't know, someplace in the Middle East, and you say, hey, we're going to give you $50 million for quote unquote condoms. But they'll do whatever the fuck they want with it. Then the Middle Easterners will go, all right, you give us $50 million of government money. We'll contribute $5 million to your campaign. We'll work with Act Blue, make some old Midwestern woman make 100 donations a day that are all exactly $24 and it'll all look great. So even though it's like you're trading $5 million for $50 million, that $5 million is very important for the politician's campaign, and he doesn't really give a shit about the taxpayer money. So actually, it all works out, and everyone can shake hands. It's that kind of shit.
Well, yeah. As I said, like it just feeds back into the management system, right? And then on top of that,
Yep.
what you'll have is you'll have like these USAID contracts go to like the Open Borders Foundation, for instance, or like some NGO that promotes people who gets out of college to come to America who are going to vote for like the fucking Democrats. Not just that, but also like work inside of the bureaucracy, right? Because it's their like they always want to continue to promote their job, and the way that they think about it isn't like, oh, we're promoting our shit. They think about it as, oh, we're giving freedom to like some transgender lesbian fucking whatever, underwater lesbian basket weaver in Pakistan. Because like, her having the ability to go to college and become a bureaucrat in the United States is the same thing as that's good for everybody, because that's what was good for me. That's the way it's looked at. That's the way it's like fucking promoted, and that's the way the colleges see it. Best thing that you can do for anybody is give them education.
That's how it's advertised.
Yeah. That's not just how it's advertised. That's literally like the whole ideology. It's worked.
I don't know. I don't know if most of these people actually have this ideology. Something
they do.
I
100%.
For the life of me, I can't figure out why it is that it's in America's interest, especially with some of these like higher up officials and stuff, to make everything as gay and diverse as possible. It's like, it's totally in the interests of American national security to import a whole bunch of people from India and the Middle East and not like check in on them, and also give them a whole bunch of money just for fun. Like,
I have a question. Right. So
Yeah.
like when you go to another country, let's say like, you're a fucking diplomat, right? You're not like a
Mhm.
king, you don't have any power, you're a diplomat, right? Would you rather deal with a country who's completely, fucking not pastured, homogenous, right? Who's completely homogenous, right? And who in their Congress, they on a regular basis have fucking fist fights. Would you rather go to a place where, everybody in, Congress and their fucking shit is diverse and a bunch of lesbians who have never been in a fight? Which one would you rather deal with?
Well, it would be easier to deal with the latter.
Yes, that's the point. That's why.
Oh, you're saying that by weakening America, they just make America a lot more easy to control. I mean, yeah, it's probably that.
Right? Because, like 80 years ago, if some lesbian came up to you in a factory, you'd punch it in the fucking face. You know what I mean? Some homosexual walking around there, you'd hit him with a piece of metal. Right? Today, you just got to tolerate that shit. So that means, like, you're tolerating something that's completely against your whole ideology and who you are as a human. Right? At the end of the day. And so, like, you're not going to stand up for shit that really, not going to stand up for your pay, your family, any of the values that because you've already been broken.
Standing up for your own values is oftentimes a hate crime, so you don't want to do that.
Yeah, this is the whole
You
part
have
of it.
to lie about how you feel.
Part of it's also a humiliation ritual. It's one of the fringe
Not a
benefits.
humiliation ritual.
Yes, it is.
Some of it is. I've been through some of these things.
It is a humiliation ritual, trust me, because
They're just trying.
They've already won then, man.
Howard literally just said what I said.
Yeah, they're just trying to break like the entire population, turn them into being okay with everything. Right? It's libertarianism on fucking steroids.
Yeah, I would say it's closer to neoliberalism.
There's no difference. There's no fucking difference. There's literally no difference.
There's a difference.
No, profit, immigration, like homosexuality. That's libertarianism and neoliberalism.
Libertarianism wants everyone to choose to be gay. Neoliberalism wants the government to educate you to be gay. There is some subtle difference.
No. They want to make it safe for everybody to be gay on both cases because the non-aggression principle is applied in neoliberalism and libertarianism.
The NAP is some of the dumbest shit I think I've ever heard. It's up there with communism, but I don't think that neoliberalism follows the NAP because they're happy to start foreign wars just, I don't know, for a few bucks.
Yeah. Libertarians fine with it too because like they can free trade with everybody as long as like everybody stays in line, but you have to have a carrot and a stick.
Libertarians aren't authoritarian enough to maintain their system before it just ends up as neoliberalism.
Yep.
Yeah, libertarianism I think decays into neoliberalism. I would agree with that.
Yeah, like they have no basis to like actually like govern for a long-term period of time before someone else takes over. Like when the faggots build up enough because they're not like strong enough and they don't have the backbone enough to tell these faggots to fuck off. Because they can do whatever they want as long as it's in their own privacy until it's your problem.
You know what is the same thing? Neoliberalism and neoconservatism. As far as I can tell, there is not an ounce of difference between those two.
Oh no, you don't understand. All right, it's LGBT. It's LGB without the T. All right, it's different.
Right. Yeah, it's super different.
All right, listen. All right, neoliberalism, LGBT. That's really bad. All right, but base neoconservatism, it's LGB. All right, without the T. It's different.
Right. Yeah.
Right. There's somebody.
Who?
Big Boss.
I don't know who that guy is, but I'll check the chat.
Big Boss.
You know Big Balls?
Big Boss.
Oh, Big Balls. Yo.
Big Boss.
Big Boss. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Fucking. But James, do I think Curtis Yarvin is better? Traveling. I think Zihan very knowledgeable. Like if you want to learn about like geography, logistics and shit, Zihan's better than Yarvin. You want to learn about political theory, Yarvin's better.
Introduce you to Samantha Power. Samantha Power here is a top administrator that is now fired from her position. Okay, Samantha Powell is a far leaning left individual. Okay, we did a little digging. Samantha Power was sworn in as an administrator at USAID on May 8th, 2021. Samantha Power's financial disclosure filed in January 21 shows her assets estimated at $6.7 million to $16.5 million today. In 2024, her net worth is estimated up to $30 million. How does a government job multiply wealth like that? Her salary at USAID was only $180,000 annually, and she's on national TV complaining about the good work she has done. What work is that? Laundering our money?
Nah, dude, she was just making some of those Pelosi investments, you know? She just made wise decisions.
I don't know what that sounded fucking
like a toilet.
Hey, like there was some shit. Yeah, how you end up with like that much money?
It's pretty good. Well, that's Social Security, Medicare. Like those are the biggest things.
I think Medicare. Well, yeah. So like, better add.
Yeah.
Around like. Yeah.
Wait, is USAID on there?
No,
I guess
international.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like in the scheme of things, like if you compare it to Social Security and the military, like USAID was what, like only like 40 bill a year, but it's still like it's a substantial department. It's bigger than the CIA. I know that.
I'm just glad that we're burning this shit down.
Budget. It's sort of extraordinary what's happening. Elon said this publicly, right? Fraud, waste, and abuse. He thinks kind of 10% of the budget is probably fraud. I think it might be low, actually. So you're talking about 650 billion, $1 trillion in waste. I think that's probably about right. But what's really serious about it, Jason, for me, and what scared me, and I'm not there full time. You know, I'm in and out a little bit and trying to help where I can, but I'm not there full time. When this started, I thought we had a democracy that had turned into a bureaucracy. What I'm afraid of now is we have a bureaucracy that is about to turn into a kleptocracy. I mean, a Latin American style kleptocracy. Okay, the stuff you're talking about, that is pure fraud. And we're making some jokes out of it, the DI musical. But if you go into the data that's coming out of USAID, what you find is there's a lot of political contributions going on there. I mean, that is pure corruption. That's like a Latin American style autocracy. And we cannot let it go there. I think this happened just in the nick of time. 80 plus people there, all patriots, gone full time to make this happen. So I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a kleptocracy. Fucking happened in Rome, like off.
Well, I think I was watching the clip from one of the more recent Joe Rogan episodes, and Brett Weinstein was there, and he was saying like, yo, I mean the people in charge, they figured out a way to tax Americans and then use that money to go towards things that propagandize the Americans and make their lives worse. Like they figured out a way for Americans to fund their own brainwashing and enslavement, and I think that's basically what's been going on. What a great country we live in.
I mean,
Bless
yo,
America.
this is what happens in every country, right? Once you kind of turn into empire, right? Like Rome was paying off like all of its enemies outside of the state and like paying people to like manage bureaucracy. And, you know, this is, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, you end up just running a fucking deficit. How it fucking works. Pay for nonsense. Like, you don't think Rome subsidized their wine trade to a lot of the like fucking Gauls and barbarians and shit? I mean, in order to get them drunk so they'd end up calming the fuck down?
Bread and circus, bro. Best way to.
It's not even bread and
except
circus.
for.
Well, kind of.
Well,
it reinforces the culture, right? So if you go anywhere in the world that's been touched by American hands. You'll see Yum Brands restaurants. Like, why would you go halfway around the world and see a taco KFC or whatever the fuck those bullshit restaurants are?
I actually I wish that we just did bread and circuses, because it's now just like gay pride parades and stuff like that. I want to go back to just bread and circuses.
Well, bread and circuses is like the scripted sports balls.
Yeah.
Dude, sports balls is so fucking cringe as a term, right? Like, I don't even like sports, and that shit's fucking annoying to hear.
Good.
Just say.
I agree.
Good.
Like,
Fuck you guys.
Tell
you're
me
you're gonna
you're a
wear another
fucking-
man's name on your back like he's about to take you to the prom. Y'all fucking.
Oh, thank you, George Carlin. I haven't heard that one before.
Do you
he took it from me. And
Pnoid,
then
do you remember when I said that to sentient beings and he got upset for like an hour and a half and he would not let it go?
Yeah. Listen, I feel the same way, right? But I just control it. You know, I mean, my autism is in control, right? I mean, but like, yeah, I feel the same exact way. Right? It's
Right?
annoying.
Hey, Pnoid, whenever you want, you can go ahead and just transition over to me, and I'll be your hippy dippy weatherman, and that'll be all right.
When you say sports ball, you sound like fucking Tim Pool.
Yes, exactly. You sound like
Tim
an
Pool
internet
is
nerd.
based and Red Bull. Red pill.
Red
Pool. Yeah, it's Red Pool.
He's Red Bull.
Exactly, bro. Like, yo, you're turning into like the fucking, the mongoloid. Yeah, listen, again, like fucking sports ball is a dumb fucking term, and you should stop fucking using it. It's stupid. It's only an internet thing, or like fucking nerds who play
I don't
Dungeons
care.
and Dragons.
All right, but
when General stops saying nature god, I'll stop saying sports ball.
I'm working
That's
on it,
the
bro.
deal.
He's been
Literally
mentioning it
hasn't
less and
said
less.
nature god in like.
Well, because it's just so obvious. But all right. So Donald Trump, he said, because I was interested about this, right? He says there's no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Therefore, we are immediately revoking Joe Biden's security clearances and stopping his daily intelligence briefings. He set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community to stop the 45th president of the United States, me, from accessing details on national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. Her report revealed that Biden suffers from poor memory, no shit, and even in his prime could not be trusted with sensitive information. I will always protect our national security. Joe, you're fired. Make America great again.
Fired.
Base tweet.
Yeah. Fucking, I don't see any reason for Joe Biden to have any type of like fucking national security clearance anymore, because the dude's obviously fucking extreme mental problems. And he's old, and it's not his fault. And I don't think it should be something that should be like actually held against him, but it shouldn't be like, oh, we're just going to keep doing it because like this is the fucking way we do things. That's fucking dumb. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking stupid.
So here's a question: does Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and the other presidents, fucking George Bush, still have their security clearances?
I'll be
I would
honest
assume
with you.
so.
I think Trump should hire Obama, right? Because like, Obama's a fucking genius when it comes to geopolitics. That guy knows so fucking much. He's so good at it. But it just, I mean, like, I think honestly, like, they did that whole thing where they brought him into like the fucking room and they showed, JFK's head getting blown apart. And they showed like fucking pictures of like where their kids go to school and like, listen, we can get you anytime we want to. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, every time they tried to call him to, like, get him to help, like, push, Obamacare or whatever, he wouldn't even pick the fucking phone up. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I think
I
that
mean,
Trump and Obama would make a great team, to be honest.
I agree. Think about how much the left
Y'all entertain
would.
me for a few minutes. I got to take a shit real quick.
Oh, all right. Think about how much the left would be happy if Obama just walked into, like, he was like, yeah, like I'll be advising Trump. They would settle down so quick. They'd be like, all right, the guy we like is he's involved.
It's a bad omen. When that happens, which it probably will, with two other characters that are, quote unquote, unaligned. Like right now, it's just two different sales teams that generate money, and it would be a betrayal. But when that happens, that's a sign that
Of
we're
the
one
mono
step
party.
very close to the one world government. That's
Yeah,
the idea.
yeah.
That's what they want them to do, is blend together and be one.
So there is no big they, right? Just
Yes,
as
there
an
is.
aside.
Have you not heard
I have
have
a
you not
premise
heard
for
the
General,
fucking
real quick.
Rockefeller?
Yeah, no, I've heard it all, right? Like, I speak to the fucking internet schizos that tell me all about fucking Project
Dude,
Bluebeam.
it's
I hear
literally
this
his
all
fucking
fucking
voice
day.
on recording. They
Mountain,
snuck it out
I
of an
have a
address.
premise to throw at General real quick, right?
Mhm.
So, you know the Truman Show, right?
Yeah,
Where
great
the
movie.
guy, what if we did that with Joe Biden?
Like you want to you
He
want to make like a
he
fake
told him that he got reelected, right?
right.
And it's just the Truman Show, but Joe Biden.
We put him in a fake Oval Office, and then we just kind of like see what he does, and we like stream it on the internet.
And then we like start increasing the intensity of the paperwork, right? Like make it less believable as time goes on.
I would watch the shit out of that show.
That's fucking artwork. Like what do we put on his desk first?
Wait,
Well,
do we do,
an
like,
ice
a
cream.
fake family and stuff, and like we say that, like we'll just say, "Yo, that's your family" and shit, right?
Oh, this is like the 6th Joe Biden we've had, right? Like get nothing mistaken, right? Earlobes don't change that much in 3 years.
It's a
Right.
body double.
This is some random old man from fucking Vermont, right? He
Well, no,
doesn't have a family. They took him out of hospice care.
Well, the earlobe
This
the earlobe
is-
thing is because his right and left ear are different, and they just mirror flip the images. But the Rockefeller got taped giving a speech in one of
Yeah,
those
no, I
meetings.
seen it. It was
thanking,
1990.
Yeah, so like this shit has been going on.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So
obviously,
they-
people do things for money, and the source of all money tends to choose the direction shit goes.
It wasn't Rockefeller, right? It was Bush, right? He said New World Order.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. David Rockefeller himself was giving a speech thanking all of the major media, saying, without the cooperation and discretion of the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all the editors and all the people who run those organizations, we wouldn't be getting so far so fast. Some shit like
Is
that.
that all
I'm
he said?
paraphrasing. Dude, he said a lot of things. These people are all in on it. Come
So
on, man.
he said something that sounded like a very subtle business plan.
Well, look, if we can
A
have
subtle
one
business
world,
point being one world government, yeah, that's subtle.
if we can just have one world government, then all the managers could manage things appropriately, and then we could live in a utopia where we no longer have conflict. It's easy.
Yeah, but you got to cut your dick off, and if you don't have a dick, we'll give you one.
Well, it would obviously work a lot better if we let Israel be the top manager, right? Like that's ideal.
If this is a whole one world government thing, they're doing a pretty fucking shit job
Takes
at
time,
being a
man.
one world
I
government.
mean, like a one world
don't-
government only worked in like okay, so a lot of these people grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, right? Or like even in like where it was just unlimited oil, unlimited fucking shit. Like everything was always growing, everything got better every fucking year. I mean, so like the mentality of like, post scarcity there. You know what I mean? And now when things are getting more tight because like motherfuckers are running out of oil, people are, like having problems, doing manufacturing. They're running out of fucking people. The demographic dividends aren't there anymore. The cost of labor is going up. Like all this infrastructure that was built, doesn't work anymore. Like this shit, is no longer, like viable. So like this, now countries and nations have to protect their interests. So like it's becoming a different world, and these motherfuckers don't know the playbook for that world. They only know a post scarcity, post fucking Cold War, post fucking World War II world. That's all they know.
I agree.
Big brain. All right, here's another post. Last year, $9 billion, $35 billion of over is known as indirect costs. Today, NIH lowered the maximum indirect cost rate research into charge to the government to 15%. Of that, many foundations allow much lower than 60%. Some institutions charge the government. Angels save more than $4 billion a year.
That's a substantial change.
I agree.
If I had known, I would have started an NGO. Where's my NGO?
You had everything except the money laundering. You had the grift. You had the virtue signaling. You had it all
If I had
except the actual
known.
money.
Let me up-level this for a second, okay? So we knew the U.S. government runs a $2 trillion deficit every year. We're in debt almost $40 trillion. And we also knew that anytime anyone tries to cut anything in Washington, the whole city screams bloody murder. Okay, so the question is just why? Well, now we know the money is all going to them. It's like round tripping to them. New York Times getting paid. Politico getting paid. Bill Kristol, perennial warmonger, getting paid. Ukraine getting paid. Like 11 out of 12 publications, Ukraine getting paid.
Incredible.
Viktor Orban, who's the prime minister of Hungary, was saying that he's very popular in Hungary. His political opposition funded by USAID. In Poland, the left-wing political opposition funded by USAID, and on and on and on it goes.
BBC. You wonder why everyone in the UK is so, yeah.
Like
I couldn't believe the BBC is getting paid.
Every left-wing organization in the world seems to be getting paid by this slush fund at USAID, which disperses about $50 billion a year. That's $1 billion a week. That's actually a lot of money. And so it makes you wonder, the left in general tries to portray itself as a movement of the people, that it's grassroots. This is the exact opposite. This is AstroTurf. This is basically money coming from the top down out of Washington to fund all of these groups, maybe not even in the United States, like all over the world. So it makes you wonder, what is the real level of local support for these left-wing policies all over the world?
Yeah, crazy.
That's the see, I was talking to I think Breaker about this the other day. I'm like, Politico, they get tons of money. Like they're so well funded. I guess they make a whole bunch of money, but I don't actually talk to anyone that like really follows Politico. Like, I mean, I'm sure that some people do, but it doesn't seem to me, at least in my circles, that it's really that important of a thing. Like, I'm surprised that they make so much money per year. Some of it's coming from the government, but
USAID funds the so the Politico people are like your CNN anchors. Like their mainstream characters are that's the significance.
Well, I don't get it. It's like to bring up Tim Pool again, right? Like a Rachel Maddow. She gets less viewership than Tim Pool does. And most of them are geriatric, they're like 65 and older. And yet she's getting paid like, millions of dollars a year. I don't understand how any of this is financially viable, right? Like,
because at that level, it's not about finance. It's about
like,
getting the message out.
Have y'all seen this here?
Yo, why is it that the British people love BBC so much?
It's like they were the first ones in the. All right, so like, fucking Donald Trump's plan to shut down U.S. President had USA is the world's largest. And the agency counts USA 2020. Countries. This is the shit, right? You know what I'm saying? This is the shit, right? Right? It's literally like, yo, they are training more managers. You know what I'm saying?
Just for shits and gigs.
No, it's not even for shits and gigs. It's because, like, if you train the people who are going to be reporting the news, they're going to give your narrative.
But this management class, it's being entirely funded by the taxpayer, and
who do you think funds the management?
Yeah, the taxpayer, I know. And then the management is doing nothing for the taxpayer, but we're paying for their existence so they can get fat and wealthy.
Get nothing misunderstood. They do shit. There's a reason why.
Nothing good.
All right, wait. You can shower because of them.
my water heater is while I can shower.
No. The water that comes to your house from like the local reservoir, right? This is all managed by these fucking people, right?
My
This
local
type of stuff, and
reservoir
these
is
are
like
important things.
600 feet under the ground.
Roads, bridges. You got well water. I understand, but like roads, bridges. You know what I mean? Like fucking trains, like things like customs are coming in and out, making sure there's no like nuclear bombs going through like the fucking ports. These are important things to do.
No,
right?
okay. I'm not saying that you can get by with zero management, right? Obviously, you have to have some management, but what you have is a class of managers, and for the most part, maybe it's the Pareto principle or whatever, but for the most part, most of them do absolutely jack shit, and probably in many ways get in the way of things. Too much regulation, or slush, the kind of like slush fund shit. They're not. Most of this management is built to make more management. It's not built to actually run anything well. This is happening all throughout universities, right?
I mean,
they're
this is the
what?
problem, right? All right. So like, see, like I can like I'm a right wing extremist, right? According to like places, right? And I mean, like I am a fucking
violent extremist as well.
Violent right wing extremist, right?
Yeah.
Fucking, I'm a far radical person as far as shit's concerned, but I can defend them better than me, right? This is the issue. In the end of the day. Right? Like, listen, there are things that we need, and I can argue for like a lot of shit that like you possibly, you wouldn't even go, oh, I mean, like fucking like the guys who like fucking manage the people who inspect the motherfucking like offshore drilling wells and shit to make sure that like we don't have, another crazy, BP oil spill and shit in the Gulf. Right? These type of things. They're important to have because like I like eating shrimp. I don't know about you. Right, but like Super Bowl's tomorrow, I'm probably gonna be eating some shrimp, watching the game. You know what I mean, hanging out with pops. I mean, drinking and shit, and like enjoying my night a little bit. You know what I mean, and fucking just living well. And all these things are possible because like there's guys behind the scenes running all this shit, and they're what's known as managers. When you have a system this fucking big, you need people to manage shit. But the thing is when they start doing shit like giving $8.2 million to Politico. That's something that needs addressed. And I mean, you can't propagandize shit. What you can do is you can send out representatives to stations. Hey, listen, why we're doing this, and explain it to the American people, and explain it to the people because you live in a fucking democracy and you enjoy this system. But you can't sit here and be the men behind the curtain the whole time in a place that like screams everything has to be out in the open. And I mean, and we all have our whole lives watched by cameras who are fucking managed by these fucking people. You can't do that. You know what I mean? Because everybody's going to assume the worst because like we're retarded.
If you look at universities, right? The professors, like they have a whole bunch of adjunct professors in universities. They pay them less. They increase their class size. I'm not necessarily like it's not. I'm going to sit here and care that much about university professors, but as the price of college increases and more people want to go to college and blah blah blah, a lot of that money has gone towards the management. All the university managers. That's where a lot of that growth gets put into, and it's bloat. That amount of management isn't necessary. It just people kind of get in on the scheme, and they don't really have to do much, and they can get paid a whole bunch because they're a manager, even though they're not actually managing anything. Like, that's the problem. Effective management, I don't have an issue with. It's that we have a massive bloat of do-nothing managers that just get to sit there and tell people what to do, despite contributing nothing.
Let me explain why that's a problem, right? Like, because there's a reason for this.
Well, it's obvious why it's a problem.
Well, no, there's a reason for this. The reason is because we have a problem of us not gaining enough like fucking financial ability to continue to survive, right? So instead of like having a job where, like you have a guy who works in a factory and he puts a widget together over and over and over again repeatedly, right? And, you know what I mean? Like, he works there for 30 years, and every year, you know what I mean, he gets a $2 raise, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And at the end of his fucking time, you know what I mean, he's making really decent fucking money, and he's able to, like, you know, have the things that he needs and provide a decent life for his family and all this type of shit. Instead, we pump the country full of fucking immigrants and fucking sit here and drive the fucking labor price down to fucking nothing. Right?
That increases GDP, bro. It's good.
Yeah, I feel you, right? And instead of like giving that man money, you tell him, here, listen, you can save money pre-tax and throw it into an account where like you can gain money by like when the company gains fucking money. Now, this would not be an issue if they just gave him fucking stocks. You know what I mean? Said, here, listen, you know, your work is valuable because like we're giving you shares in the fucking company and you are now a part owner, right? That would be less of a fucking issue, but that's not how this shit works, right? And that's not how he's fucking paid. And, you know, he's expected to save for his own retirement in this massive ass motherfucking like account with some fucking company like State Street or, I mean, BlackRock or whoever the fuck it is. And they're out here like buying up everything, trying to squeeze every last ounce of motherfucking money they can out of every fucking asset that they fucking acquire. Right. And they're stripping down companies and firing him and bringing in fucking immigrants. And all of us are fucked. So that means that everybody has to move up the fucking chain. And you're not going to want your kid to do what you do because like you didn't provide a decent life for yourself in the end of the day. And you've seen everybody around you fucking falling apart and your whole community get destroyed. And you had to move, you know what I mean, like further away to be able to continue to survive and have a longer goddamn commute because they fucking pumped your neighborhood full of immigrants and fucking Southern blacks to destroy your motherfucking ability to be cohesive and have a fucking union. Right? Like all of these things are shit that has happened. Right? And this is the fucking issue. So then instead you send your kid to college and go be a fucking manager because that's going to pay better. Right?
Oh yeah. Didn't you share an article about this on your Substack the other day? Something about like how the quickest way to destroy a community is move everybody out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Fucking like, yo, there's a great article if I can share it on my Substack. Fucking amazing. Right? But like, this was done repeatedly over and over again on purpose, right? To fucking help companies be able to be more fucking fucking cost effective and help them grow, right? And to be more profitable. And so that these companies would end up standing here beating Soviet and Chinese and whoever the fuck else's goddamn companies, including places like Germany, right? And we've been doing this for fucking years. So we've sent all of our kids to college because like, yo, that was the way to be able to make more money. What it is. You know what I mean? And this is the fucking problem. The problem is you need to let the lower classes, like we need to stop going, oh, don't work at McDonald's. Like, go work at fucking McDonald's. You should make an honest fucking living there and be able to provide for you and your family. No matter what the fuck you do, you should have a living goddamn week. Work 40 hours a fucking week. You should provide for you and 3 other people. That's how it should work. There should be no job in America where you work 40 hours a week and you're not able to provide.
Well, unless you want to do some weird shit with minimum wage, that's just currently non-viable, especially when
the immigrants and it's viable.
Well, you probably have to do more than that. You would have to get rid of the immigrants, and you would probably have to try to force women out of the workforce. Then you could maybe have what you're talking about.
Get rid of the immigrants and it's viable.
Tommy, was this viable before NAFTA? Like, you remember this?
Yes.
Mountain.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
confirm?
100%. Like it was a culture shock to see grown adults working at fast food and doing teenage jobs for a while. This was probably late 80s. It started to become a thing, mid to late 80s.
This is a strange thing to hear.
Like my mom provided for me, my little sister, and her, and we based in a house, worked one job for.
Well, okay, so let's take all the immigrants in the United States. Like, what are we talking? Like, let's say you include the illegals and the legals. What? It's probably like, I don't know, 60 million, some shit like that. Yeah.
That
I
brings
mean,
us down to like 280 million people in America.
I mean, it's obviously that's gonna affect wages, and that's gonna be a problem. But I mean, of course, you also have what might be even larger, which is all this outsourcing that we've done, where we get the We get the Indians to telework our call centers, and we get the Chinese or the Mexicans to build our cars over there in their plants or whatever the fuck. This is why I think that this kind of tariff perspective that Trump has so much potential benefit for the American economy. Right, it's going to hurt in the short term. You know, we might be suffering for like a year or two, like no doubt. But in the long term, it increases the value of American labor and allows actual circulation of money within our economy as opposed to just going out the door.
It's got to fix culture. Like, these kids need jobs. Like, adults shouldn't be working these jobs unless they're kind of low capacity individuals, which then it's fine, right?
Oh, it's being replaced by robots anyway. Like, most McDonald's have fucking computer cashiers anyway, right?
No, what I'm hearing is that the franchise owners have employees to stand around and touch the buttons, and the stuff is junk. So I think they're going to fake that shit working for a while. It'll just be back-ended by someone in Bangladesh until it works, or it just never has to work, and they're just like, fuck it. But I'm not too worried about the robots and the AI so much, personally.
I would be.
It's so expensive, and like, dude, think about maintaining a coffee machine. They're gonna maintain all these fucking robots? Like, really? I don't think so.
They can't keep a fucking ice cream machine up.
That's on purpose. All right, I saw a YouTube video about that.
Is it like
They
company
can't even get the
policy?
electric car right.
Share this in Discord and everybody online can see it too. All right, so this is the employment level. Born, right? The red is the foreign born and the fucking native born. Post 2020, you can see.
Jesus Christ.
Right? And that's in hundreds of thousands. That's in thousands. So it's like 140,000 more fucking, I mean, that job after the year. Like 40,000 more fucking immigrants. Yeah, 40. Right. This is how this shit works.
So essentially, all new job creation after 2020 was essentially just given to the immigrants.
Right.
Nice.
So then who sits out? And
Sits out in
eventually
what
more and more
sense?
people sits out of the work. So they take school, sports, like, all right, all these like skill building programs disappeared from education. Then kids are sitting out of work because they don't have to. Yeah, have you ever heard of like parents just buying kids phones and all these really expensive gadgets just on a whim? Like, there's no conditions. It's just like, oh yeah, whatever. You're my little prince. You're my little princess. Just sit around. You don't got to work.
Isn't that called love bombing in some situations?
I don't know. We got a large contingent of people that have no culture. Whereas if you play sports or belong to a smart club in your school or do something that's more competitive and cooperative at the same time, have a job, you come out different as a person. But I feel like these things have been slowly been wiped away. Not for everybody, obviously, but for a decent amount of people. And that immigrant thing, that is the clog. Like, it's fine if we have so many jobs that our culture isn't being affected and there's still more to go around. That's different, but they're actually truncating the experience of growing up the way we grew up. We came out tough. We came out resilient. We came out, with our head on a swivel. I can't say that I wouldn't be a basement dweller if I was born 30 years later. I don't know. But it shouldn't be a possibility.
I was going to say, Mountain, you were a basement dweller before it was popular.
That's true.
Nice.
Forced participation for immigrants. Right, like actual
Fuck. I got a buddy who's a local welder. Hell, he's been looking for a job for 4 months. Nobody fucking needs work.
So I ran into a chemical engineer. I ran into a chemical engineer earlier today who is doing DoorDash because his local job to where he lives got outsourced and there's nothing for him to do.
Oh, that's rough.
OnlyFans.
Yep.
If you saw this particular individual, you would not think OnlyFans.
Don't judge me.
Yo, the STEM workers, that really pisses me off. Because this kind of hits a little bit close to home for me, but it's like you import a whole bunch of people with bullshit PhDs from China and bumfuck Eastern Europe or wherever the hell, and you do this for decades, and then science basically doesn't pay shit. And then everyone complains, oh, well, there's not enough Americans going into science. Well, of course they wouldn't. It pays shit. It's a whole bunch of hard work and the pay is nothing. And so now, like a lot of Americans, like we don't do science and we have to, rely on a whole bunch of bullshit people from outside of our borders with bullshit PhDs from bullshit universities in order to do our science on our behalf because we no longer know how to. Like, fuck, how... it is so easy to ruin a nation. It takes so much effort to build it up, but it can be destroyed so easily.
Yeah. When I went to college, the
it's a
math
good thing
building was
America isn't
converted
a
into
nation.
the poli-sci building. Oops.
Higher the percentage of like fucking there are of foreign workers in the fucking job, the less dump the fucking wages. Like if you can't survive on a job, you're not gonna fucking do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
This this is where we are.
It's fucking bottom line.
Well, it's
for myself. Like whenever I've had to find different professions in the different places that I've had to inhabit, and my original trade was in computer work, but now because it's been so outsourced and so siloed away from anybody who's American and doesn't need an H-1B visa or sponsorship, I've had to do other things and learn different trades and do things that I was like, I don't have to do that. I shouldn't have to learn how to do that. But it's a humbling experience. But if you're somebody who's wanting to continue to make an income that's bringing in a livable wage, you do have to diversify yourself.
Constantly. I mean, like I've fucking gone through like 4 different trades in my life. There's not a lot you can do about it because like they just keep bringing in immigrants. I'm probably gonna have to jump again here soon because there's so many fucking immigrants in my profession that like I'm not able to like get my bills paid a lot of fucking times.
You know what, though? I think with Homan getting rid of a lot of the immigrants, especially the legal ones and the ones that have overstayed or have been told to leave because their visas have expired, that may really open up for you.
Hey, I don't know. Fucking year or two, maybe. Still rocking, making some money at the moment, but fucking been fucking tough, Pat. Like, I have to deal with like all these New Jersey fucking people coming, fucking have that tax reset, start a business, and they buy a fucking truck and they just hustling, running everything. I'll be real. Like, I've never been to an Amazon and seen a white guy driving an Amazon. It doesn't fuck. Only white people still left in the industry are like, very few and far between. There's maybe like,
OTR maybe.
Out of like the fucking there's OTR guys. Guys out there driving their Kenworths and their Peterbilts and shit. But fucking like in my company like that I work for or whatever, like there's like 40 drivers, 4 white guys.
Are the rest Mexican or
Mexican
other
and
shit?
black.
Well, you got to remember that there's a large Hindu, not Hindu, but Middle East presence that's coming up as well.
Yep, African, Middle Eastern people. And it's a constant state of having to fix their shit all the fucking time because none of them know what the fuck they're doing. This is just normal.
Who was it exactly that decided that America should be a hodgepodge of the rest of the world with no discernible majority? Who was it that decided that? I always wonder that.
I believe it was the Anglo Protestants, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
The
it's all
Dutch.
fucking
The Dutch.
ridiculous.
Dutch.
The Dutch got wiped out of New York back in 1600.
Yeah, but like they continued their policy, right? Like the Dutch were originally fucking away, right? Like the Dutch sat here and they protected everybody out of New York, them fucking Amsterdam at that point. And I mean, and just the king of Dutch, Denmark. I'll go with Denmark. The king of Denmark said, like, yeah, you guys can't be discriminating again. I have to fucking let it rock. It became a thing.
What's funny because they're still Saxons, just of a different color.
Oh, fuck off. It wasn't the Anglo-Saxons that made America diverse
Eat a
and gay.
dick, you ruined America.
It's not us, all right?
You're why.
So you
I have to go
identify
to
as
the gas
Anglo-Saxon?
station.
Well,
How long have you been in the club?
Well, actually, I'm half British, half Norwegian. All right, so I'm the best of the best.
He's like
Slow right
peak
the fuck down.
homosexual, right? Like nobody sucked a better dick than fucking
Fuck
Janet
you,
Lear.
dude. Fuck you.
Apparently, you're his first 1-star.
Yeah, he didn't.
Right, like we tried real hard to close.
You know what sucks is that the people who are sitting there going, "Oh, what about all the people who came over and really helped build this country?" They all came through a port of entry in Ellis Island. They didn't come over the border and were just like, "Well, fuck, we're here. Let's get after it." No,
This is not a country of immigrants. It was built upon fucking conquered territory that was all wooded and didn't have like shit set up here. Like the
You know
natives were
what?
living in fucking huts.
I blame the French a little bit because they like gifted us the Statue of Liberty. What a fucking Trojan horse that was. Oh, give us your poor and your downtrodden. No, I don't want those. And yet now it's a fucking symbol of America. Give us your poor and your downtrodden. Fucking French, man. I blame them. And the long-nosed tribe.
You know, of course a Brit would blame the French.
Well, yeah, fuck the French.
yeah, we don't want to because that's just nasty.
Okay, the French girls, they're built pretty fucking decently. There's a reason all women are pretty fucking decent.
You mean the ones that wear burqas?
Something like that.
Don't know what the face looks like, but the outline looks possibly decent. Then you have to unveil it like you're opening up a new car shell after it's been in the fucking barn for 30 years, and you're just like, regrets. I have all of them.
Y'all hear about what's
I didn't. This says Trump signed.
No, because we give a shit about what's going on in North America.
Yeah, I mean, like this is kind of cool. This is something we've been following for a while. Trump signs an order against South Africa. Right, Trump has signed an executive order rights possible fund. Accuse the country of confiscating land classes of African power realm. Denies the claim.
Ooh, I'm glad he's doing something about this. I mean, like, fundamentally, I don't care because it's not, happening in North America. Like, shit outside of my continent isn't really that important, but it's
You don't give a
obvious.
shit what's happening in Canada or Mexico, so just say America.
No, I do, because I want to conquer Canada. That should be our land. But
Mexico then.
I don't want to stick my dick in a wasp's nest, all right? Like, that's too much. I mean, it's obvious, right, that, like, South Africa has been, okay with a whole bunch of people, raping and killing the white South Africans for a while now. So I'm glad that, something is kind of being done about it, probably.
I mean,
Okay, real question. I forget what did they call the white people in South Africa?
The Boers.
There you go. Thank you.
I mean,
They-
that was white people.
The Boers?
That's what who moved.
Not like a pig. It's BOER. That's just their ethnicity.
That was like the Dutch farmers who moved to England at that point. British over the fucking ape. I mean, they called them right, and they fought like a whole war, and then anonymous.
With that, we bring in Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy. Senator, always good to have you with us. What was your reaction as you watched this sort of longer than usual freewheeling press conference with these two foreign leaders?
Well, number one, I find it refreshing after 4 years where our president wouldn't talk to anyone. Number two, I was paying especially close attention to what the president had to say about reviewing spending. I think it would be fair to say that President Trump is dug in like a tick. He's going to continue. He ran on this issue. He said, if you elect me president, I'm going to review the spending. Now, I don't know how you review the spending without reviewing the spending. No fair-minded person can doubt that the President of the United States has the authority to review the spending in the executive branch. He's delegated that authority to Elon Musk. A lot of my Democratic colleagues and most of the members of the tofu crowd are very upset. They're screaming like Musk stole their dog or something. But one thing they're not talking about is what Mr. Musk is finding. I mean, just at the USAID, he found hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars worth of spending porn.
Senator, let me ask you something, if I may. You wrote a piece about Medicaid, saying that there is a ton of waste in Medicaid. And you heard President Trump just moments ago. He said, we're not going to touch Social Security. But he said that there are a lot of bad people who shouldn't be on the list, something to that effect when it comes to Medicaid. What did you find and write about this week with regard to that?
The American people, the most generous people in the world. If you're hungry, we'll feed you. If you're homeless, we'll house you. If you're too poor to be sick, we'll pay for your doctor. But all of it's cost money. We're spending about $1 trillion a year on Medicaid. President Biden increased it by about 40%. We estimate that there are between 10 and 30 million people on Medicaid who are perfectly able to work. I've got a bill that says if you're between 18 and 55, you're not disabled, you don't have any minor kids at home, so we're not talking about a mother with a sick child in her arms, you've got to work 20 hours a week. That'll save us, according to CBO, about $100 billion over 10 years.
Right there.
It's not just about the money. There's a moral principle. If you can work, you should work. These programs were not meant to be parking lots. They were meant to be bridges. And for some people, not everybody on Medicaid, but for some people, the best way to get back on your feet is to get off your ass.
Well, well put. And interesting. And the idea is that if you are able-bodied and you're accepting Medicaid, you should be working as well, gainfully employed.
Yeah.
And it's an idea that I think would be common sense to a lot of people. You also pointed out the psychological benefits.
I mean, like, I kind of agree with that, but again, I still think we need to kick the immigrant right. You know, I mean, sort of like work actually.
Well, of course. I mean, look, I don't think that Donald Trump, even if I would like it, and I would, but I don't think that he's going to be able to kick out, you know, like tens of millions of immigrants. It's just not. It's not going to be feasible. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't necessarily see that happening. I think he's probably mostly going to go after. He's going to end up going after the like the ones that are in gangs or doing violent crimes or raping people or whatever. But I would really be interested in, I guess, Doge looking into the non-discretionary spending of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, because I bet that, I mean, that's where most of our money goes, and I bet that the amount of bloat in that system, the amount of just money that doesn't need to be going into it. I mean, fuck, like imagine if we could just slash that by 75%. We could save so much money, and we could put that money towards bigger and better things. We need to look into Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. That's not a thing that a politician can say, because then like old boomers get upset, and you know, they're like, oh, you're gonna take away my government funded everything. But I mean, it's facts. It's non-sustainable. We have to get rid of it, like, or at least decrease it.
I mean, I have a really good plan. I had a plan for you.
Okay.
This is that part of that. This isn't part of me. We have a giant military, right? I feel like we should just like tax the rest of the world and force them to pay what we pay for prescription drugs. You know what I mean? And it'll bring the cost way down, because like we could like pay, you know what I mean, instead of paying like $80 a pill or whatever, you pay fucking, you know, $3 a pill, you know. And like we have to rein in like the amount of fucking cost that, you know, emergency rooms and hospitals do, because I don't know what percentage it is, but it's a rather large percent of, I mean, like fucking, it's a non-trivial percentage of our, not like, well, like of the spending of Medicare is literally having to cover people who are like go to the fucking hospital and shit. And I mean, this type of thing, and these hospitals have to cover it. Like that shit needs to stop. Like everybody needs, like if you need to go to the fucking doctor, you need to be able to go to the. This shit's fucking getting goddamn ridiculous. Like charging you $5,000 every time you show up at the fucking ER because you're fucking, you know, sick or whatever. Fucking dumb. And we need to make, I mean, getting treatment like good and much, much cheaper. And I feel like we're moving that way with like the AI and shit, and you know, I mean, like the online doctors and stuff, which is fucking great. But like we need to like be able to do these type of things, and on top of that, like we have to stop like fucking charging like fucking $4,000 CAT scan stuff. Like it doesn't cost that, and there's no reason why that should be the fucking price of it. Like maybe, have you ever noticed how like we pay over time for shit rather than like paying up front for things? You ever notice that? Like
that's what we do. Everything's on a credit card.
Yeah, like, you know, like for instance, like the housing authority, where like you're in Section 8. Why are we paying rent? Why don't you just give these motherfuckers a house? Wouldn't it be cheaper in the long run just to give motherfuckers a house? Like they're not like impoverished forever. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, but then a lot of these poor motherfuckers won't take care of the property, trash the house, whatever. I mean, ultimately, I would say, you know, in that case, that's on them. They have to live in the bed that they made. But you know, I don't know. Some like lefty women will cry out the government isn't doing enough. Some shit like that.
I would.
But
I would. But like the thing is that like you can just like give motherfuckers a place to goddamn, or just buy it outright, so we're not paying fucking rent. Like, why do we have like private land? Why are we renting from private landlords? Why don't we just have like housing? Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's the same with like Medicare. Like, why don't we just fucking buy a hospital, a fucking CAT scan?
Why is I got a question.
What up?
And
call it communism.
it's a premise because I want to see what you think. Did you I am assuming you didn't receive your car. I'm assuming you bought it or nabbed it.
What?
Your first car.
Like yeah, fucking I bought my first.
Yeah, right. So you worked for.
Yeah.
Now, you ever see what a rich kid does when they get a car?
Yeah, I get your premise, right? I mean, like receiving things is rather difficult. But like as a government, we're already paying for like CAT scans, right? We're paying for them anyway. Like, why not just buy the fucking machine?
Oh, it's an insurance racket. That's why things are so expensive.
like, why not just buy the
CAT
fucking
scans
machine?
and MRIs is something entirely different. I'm speaking specifically on the property point.
Yeah, I get you.
Like you start
right?
throwing that shit out there.
Yeah,
you're
but
gonna have
like
some real
again,
issues.
why aren't we just like buying? Like whole ass motherfucking like apartment block as a government, right? And instead of like that way, you don't charge fucking rent. We have to make payments to somebody for.
Isn't that called a project?
You're gonna make the fucking pod city, dog.
No, that's not a project. A project is fucking private landlord owns some shit, right? And then like fucking they'll have a big ass building and the government rents it out and puts like poor people in there. And then the government pays that motherfucker for the privilege.
Well, no, like those ugly ass tower apartments in New York City. I thought that those were like a government project. They built them up.
Nope. Private sector fucking owns them, right? And then the government pays for their like upkeep. They pay for the upkeep. They pay for the rent. Then the private motherfucker just.
Oh, you know what? I agree. The government should just make a whole bunch of barracks, government-owned barracks.
And that way, like again, why aren't we just paying for shit up front? Because like we know we're gonna have a need for it.
Yeah, I will say with the cost of drugs in America, we're getting double fucked, right? Because we, the taxpayer, we pay for the development and production of a lot of these drugs, and then we pay for the FDA to look into the drugs, make sure they're safe, make sure they're well regulated or whatever, and then to make sure that the pharmaceutical companies can recoup the cost of developing the drugs, we pay the full price. But then other nations, they get all the benefits of the drug being produced and researched by the FDA and make sure that it's safe, and they get it for cents on the dollar in comparison to what we have to pay for it. We're getting like triple fucked by the system. It is insane what we're doing. I think that what we should do, right, is when we make a drug and it gets through FDA and it's an American-made drug, you give it to Americans for cheap, but it's the rest of the world that has to pay out the ass for it because they didn't pay the tax money to do all the product testing and development. Fuck them.
Well, like, yeah, and like the other half is that like the rest of the world uses all of our drugs, right? But like when we negotiate with them, they negotiate as a country instead of negotiating as like, fucking private insurance agent, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like what they'll do is they're like, hey, listen, drug costs us $40 a pill to like whatever, and they're like, well, we'll give you $4, right? And they're like, nah, fucking this costs us $40 a pill, and they're like, yeah, well, we can just make it ourselves and say fuck your copyright. You know what I mean? And then like fucking they'll just go, all right, you can get it for $4 a pill. So like they're getting it for 10%. You know what I mean? And then we got to make up.
I understand why it happens, but it results in Americans getting triple fucked financially with pharmaceuticals. Probably most pharmaceuticals are poison anyway, so it's good that a lot of people aren't taking them. But some are important, And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to fix that, but we should get around to fixing it because it's untenable to have Americans be triple fucked that way.
Right. God damn it. Now, I don't know how to keep my mic volume like the whole way the fuck up. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense what happens, but fucking dumb. Right. So, oh, by the way, Donald Trump fucking stopped female athletes competing with women.
Do you mean he stopped male athletes from competing in female sports?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
earlier in the week.
It
Things
wasn't
are moving
there.
fast.
There was a judge that was like blocking some ass. It was the Trump was trying to get the transgendered individuals out of female prisons. And like some judge blocked that.
I'm only aware of two judges blocking two things. One is you said related, and one is
Like
I
a
forget.
New York judge who fucking tried to stand in the way of like him getting or Elon Musk getting in fucking the Treasury.
Yeah, I think that was one.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah, there might be a third one because I'm remembering something else. But I mean,
Well, look
like,
at the fuck up, bitch.
I can't remember what I'm even trying to look up. I think there was a third one. But I don't know. Yeah, I think that the like they can try to block all this, but there seems to be really quite a genuine cultural kind of favorability for Trump right now, and it's very difficult to stop culture if the culture wants something, you know. So like they can try to get in the way, but they don't have the momentum or the traction really at this point to stop Trump, at least as far as I can tell.
I feel you. All right, here's one. Ted Cruz, USAID funded Hamas, Taliban, healthcare, and DEI abroad. Biden,
Nice.
USAID spent $1.5 million for advancing DEI in Serbia, $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala. They spent $6 million for tourism in Egypt. They spent $1 million to help disabled people in Tajikistan become climate leaders. They spent another $1 million for a Hamas-like charity and spent $15 million for contraceptives and condoms in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Democrats and a lot of folks in media have convinced themselves that Elon is the devil. Elon is living rent-free in their brain, and I'm grateful that he's working around the clock to root this out and end it, and exactly what Donald Trump was elected to do.
Like, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Right. Like, it's, as I said, man, like, you know, they're just promoting shit that's good. You know what I mean? Like, fucking for, whatchamacallit. Oh, man, listen, do you see Chuck Schumer out here, like, fucking trying to scream the fight against fucking Donald Trump?
I saw that. It was hilarious. It was the most weak-ass sauce of all time.
George Soros received $260 million of U.S. aid. He didn't spend his own money to destroy the American justice system. He used ours.
Thank you.
Yeah. Shit. The FBI agents are saying
on the
if
12th day of fraud gate.
FBI director, it would cause massive damage to the agency and are threatening to quit the agency. Like, fucking leave, pussy.
Good.
Well, I mean, he is
alive.
No, how many fucking, like, there's a stat out. Like, there's a galactic shit ton of federal workers who have taken the buyout because they don't want to fucking work. Like, fuck them, bye.
I agree. Babylon B. Fucking yeah, I'm just sitting here going through like Elon Musk tweets because I feel like that's the place where you're gonna figure out what exactly is going on with all this shit.
Dude, the Wikipedia page can't even keep up. It's fucking been a blitzkrieg of Elon Musk findings for fraud, executive orders from Trump, and not even the left's whatever they can organize can't even keep up. Like, there's bald men who are skinny and scrawny as fuck that you or I would be able to easily move out in front of a door that Maxine Waters can't even bully out of the way. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's just like, and the problem is there's like no like centralized thing of like what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean?
They're all freaking the fuck out, and it's great.
It's just a topic for the dialectic. It's the distraction thing. It's all garbage.
I mean, I feel where you are, right? I'm just.
Does it feel bumpy and kind of uncomfortable?
It does. It does. It's really uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like fucking stretching me out. It's like
you need to use more Crisco.
Nice.
Like, yo, these fucking people.
Got to get that 5-pound bucket of it. All from Costco, who still supports their DEI program, thanks to what the fuck's his name, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Yeah, I'm gonna quit there. Actually,
Senators for Medicare and Medicaid services.
I'm gonna take my business to Walmart.
I know, like they're giving like third party. They're giving money to like immigrants and like and illegals through like California and New York and Massachusetts and whatever our states will be able to give them like fucking money and shit. You know, I mean,
you know what's going to be even worse?
What's up?
Whenever they finally start auditing the Department of Veteran Affairs and the Veteran Healthcare Network and see how much they're not being funded, and on top of that, how much they're funding, and I shit you no joke, either dependents or actual former service members transition surgeries. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yo, Italy's trying to leave motherfucking the WHO too.
Hey, good for them. We should all leave it.
Yeah.
When you say they're trying to leave, why the fuck didn't they, like, what?
They're part of the EU.
That's what's confusing to me.
They're
like,
part of the EU.
Like okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, so they're mandated by the EU's, like, admittedly, don't know or have a lot of information about the EU, so whatever you're telling me would be a bit of an education regarding that. But if I want to leave something, I'm going to walk out the fucking door. Like, nobody's going to stop me.
All right. So like the EU has a whole. All right, you know, in your state, do you know why the DUI law says you have to be 21 to drink? Like, and it's 0.08. Do you know why? Yoda.
I was picking something up. Sorry. What's up?
Do you know why it's 21 to drink and the limit for blood alcohol level is 0.08? Do you know why?
I don't.
It's highways.
Yeah, so basically the federal government will cut off the funding for like the highways and like the construction and all that type of shit if you don't have it at that level.
Gotcha.
Right. And so like if they lead the WHO, they're part of the WHO because they got bribed to go into the WHO. So like if they have anything that's like, you know, like medical fucking base or whatever it is that's being funded by the EU, they'll cut that off if they lead the WHO.
But from my understanding, the WHO and the WEF and all that shit has really been fucking over everybody. And they really haven't been getting what they've been putting in. Kind of like us in the fucking federal government.
That doesn't matter, right? So like if you're paid to be somewhere, right? Like if they're paying you, right, you have to make up that shortfall if you decide to lead the WHO. You know what I mean? Like if the EU's paying you to be in the WHO, right? And like your people are expecting to continue to have, you know what I mean? Like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Right? You have to fucking make up that shortfall.
That sucks.
Yes.
I don't see a benefit of being a part of the EU. I don't.
Well, in the long term, there isn't one. It's horrible. But I guess there were some short-term benefits that they signed up for, and now it's almost impossible to leave.
Yeah, Britain's still not done leaving, right? They've been trying to leave for years.
Well, I
They
mean,
still haven't completed Brexit.
No, not entirely. And I mean, also, see, in Britain, they have these two parties called the Tories and Labour, right? So the Tories are basically like American Democrats, and Labour are basically like communists. They actually don't have a conservative party there. So, like, all the parties still want to like stay with the EU, even though the people desperately don't. And it's a huge clusterfuck. And I don't think that I don't think any American understands British politics or should have to understand British politics because it's faking gay.
Well, I mean, like, see, the thing is the people wanted to get rid of the immigrants, so they tried to get rid of the EU, right? And they wanted like their jobs back and wanted to have like control of their own trade policy, that type of thing. And you know, what I mean, so their government did the same thing that the EU did on steroids to the fucking people to tell them to go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where they're at, you know. And they still like, you know, they still haven't left the EU the whole way because like they don't know how to untie the fucking knot.
I love it that like the people voted to leave the EU, probably mostly because they were sick of immigrants, and then the managerial class, the political leaders of Britain were like, oh well, I mean, look, that was the wrong choice, and also we need to increase the amount of migrants no matter what. Fuck you, voting populace. Like that's some good democracy right there. I can get behind that.
This guy gets it.
Yeah. So the BBC, right? Like I said, a free press is essential to freedom and democracy, and 75% of countries around the world do not have a free press. The BBC Media Action supports local media around the world to deliver trusted information to people most in need. Like many international development organizations, the BBC Media Action has been affected by the temporary pause in U.S. government funding, which amounts to about 8% of our income in 2023-2024. We're doing everything we can to minimize the impact to our partners and the people we serve. As the BBC's an international charity, we are completely separate from BBC News and wholly reliant upon our donors and supporters to carry out our work. Yeah, this is not like our fucking problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not. Why are we funding the rest of this nonsense?
Yeah, so are we? Didn't Politico miss their first payment to what is it? Pay period to their employees due to the USAID thing. USAID. I say USAID dumb. It's fucking dumb, but that's Tennessee schools for it.
Yeah, Politico, they missed their payments to all their employees. I haven't heard any updates about that. I don't know if they have been paid by now, but
I don't know. According to a USAID
I would be
fact sheet,
flipping 10 kinds of shit.
Well, according to a USAID fact sheet, which has been taken offline in 2023, the agency funded training and support for 6,200 journalists, assisted 707 non-state news outlets, and supported 279 media sector civil society organizations dedicated to strengthening independent media. The 2025 foreign aid budget included $268,376,000 allocated by I don't know, all over the world, media outlets and organizations have had to halt some of their activities overnight. We have articles scheduled until the end of January, but after that, if we haven't found solutions, we won't be able to publish anymore, explains a journalist. Ukraine, 9 out of 10 media outlets relied on USAID funding. In Ukraine, where 9 out of 10 media outlets, several local media have already announced the suspension of their activities and are searching for an alternate solutions. At Slidsvo Info, 80% of our budget is affected, says 80%. Anna Babinett, CEO and co-founder of an independent investigative media outlet based in Kiev. Supporting independent media has been part of the USAID's democracy and governance assistance efforts since the 1980s. The U.S. government is now the largest public donor to independent media development globally. Bro, listen, I wish I would have known about that.
Doesn't that seem like an oxymoron? The government funded media is independent journalists. That's not clicking in my head.
Well, if you think about it, you've seen those collages on YouTube of all the different news stations around the U.S. having the exact same script and sounded like NPCs saying the exact same shit, regardless of the state that you're in. So it makes sense. And when I started seeing that shit, I was like, no fucking way. But then I would start catching it on local news stations that I was seeing. I was like, no fucking way.
Okay.
But now we know where the catalyst and where it all came from.
Okay, so this was published in the U.S. Agency for International Development, 5-minute read, February 14, 2024. Listen to this. In 2023, the movie Barbie broke a lot of records, including the highest grossing movie of the year and the biggest opening by a female director. It also broke a fictional record where journalist Barbie won both a Pulitzer and Nobel Prize for journalism. The Nobel Prize.
You know it real quick. What movie was it called?
Barbie? The Barbie.
Have you not
movie.
seen it?
The Barbie movie.
I didn't.
I
Okay.
actually saw it in gaming.
So you said Bobby. I was like, what the fuck? But
Yeah.
Barbie. Okay,
Yeah,
got
although
it.
8 journalists have won a Nobel Prize, Peace Prize in the history of the award. Whether in Barbie Land or the real world, a freely operating, truth-seeking press is a core pillar of healthy democracy and kingdoms. And what? Yo, bruh, did you? Whether in Barbie Land or the real world.
Say that sentence again.
I'm gonna. Right, whether in Barbie Land or the real world, a freely operating, truth-seeking press is a core pillar of a healthy democracy and kingdoms, and authoritarian governments know that. Listen.
Are we a kingdom or are we a Barbie-dom?
Jesus Christ.
I keep telling you, these fucking people aren't evil. They're fucking dumb. They well understand that journalists working in the public sector, public interest, provide a crucial check on the actions of the executive, legislation, and judicial branches, help to educate and enforce citizens, stem corruption, and hold powerful actors and institutions accountable for their actions. This is why when repressive forces seek to gain or retain power, constraining independent media is too often at the top of their strategy, as we see before us now. Violence, harassment, oppression, and censorship against journalists is at record high, but the Committee to Protect Journalists is recording at the highest 2022 and the second highest 2023 number of journalists in prison since it started tracking its figure 30 years ago. Last year also saw a high number of deaths in journaling covering the Ukraine and Gaza wars and the sharp rise in killings in Latin America, where reporting on organized crime, corruption, environmental poses significant risk. They don't tell you that, like, the people who were killed were, like, covering the war, negatively in fucking Ukraine.
Dude. I swear to God, these people, they have like an elementary school understanding of this shit. They go, oh well, media. The job of media is to inform the public, so that's a good thing, and so the people that do that are good people, and we don't need to think about it more further than that. It's a good thing, and I support good thing. That's literally how they think about this shit. It never crosses their mind that, oh, like, might a media organization like be up to no good? No, they're good guys.
They obviously weren't part of a kingdom.
Base kingdom.
Base kingdom. When authoritarian and other repressive actors seek to silence expression, they do so to divide citizens.
Pnoid, hold on.
What?
Can your next server be based kingdom?
Yo, Walter, get on it, right? When authoritarian and other repressive actors seek to silence expression, they do so to divide citizens, undermine their faith and trust in institutions, and make them question whether democracy can deliver for them. Whether traditional techniques attacking journalists, jailing editors, or putting censorship statutes on the book, or takes the new takes like poisoning the information space or shutting down the internet, the intent is to silence dissent or even just create uncertainty or cynicism. At worst, practices are shared. We see corruption weaponized, truthful narrative purposely distorted, and technologies put to work against reporters in Sudan, Myanmar, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, and so many other places. Accelerating this trend was the COVID-19 pandemic, when uncertainty and global economic disruption opened the path for increased democratic erosion and closing civic space, putting even more pressure on independent media. Supporting independent media has been part of the USA's democracy, blah, blah, blah. Based on decades of evolving research, testing, and learning, USAID has expanded its understanding of how the multiple intersecting threats media practitioners face, legal, physical, economic, and digital, and how necessary it is to work from many sides to build and reinforce media sectors that are as resilient as possible against the forces that seek to shut them down.
Wait, go scroll back up to that paragraph. That paragraph that's based on decades of evolving research, testing, and learning, blah blah blah. That entire paragraph said nothing. What it said was, we have experts, trust them. That it said nothing else.
Yo, President Biden, a free and independent media is the bedrock of democracy. It's how the public stay informed and how governments are held accountable. And around the world, press freedom is under threat. President Biden.
How the fuck is it a free and independent media if it is government funded? How does that work?
I mean,
Can we use our inside voice while we're yelling?
No,
Thank you.
I'm fine with him yelling. Right. Okay. So like, here's my thing. Do you know, shit. What's the Middle Eastern fucking joint? Their newspaper.
Al Jazeera.
All right, Al Jazeera is a really good paper, right? They're based out of Bahrain, but the rule is they're not allowed to report about Bahraini fucking royalty.
Based.
Today I learned that there was Bahrainian royalty.
Today I learned there's a place called Bahrain.
Today you learned that Ethiopia has like a Las Vegas.
Yeah, right. But like, yeah, this is the thing, right? Is so like,
Whoa,
Al Jazeera,
that's breaking news
like,
right there.
Al
Ethiopia has
Jazeera
a
is amazing at
Las Vegas.
covering like all types of shit geopolitically around the world. They should be like the go-to for everybody, right? Because like literally their government doesn't give a fuck what they say as long as you're not talking shit about them.
Double base.
That's how you can have government-funded media, right? You know what I mean? Like the government funds them, right? And they do amazing jobs. But like they're not allowed to
all
talk
that
about
based and no treble.
All right, but see, if something as large as the U.S. government is funding you, where it has its fingers in every single fucking pot that exists in the globe, no matter what you say, it's going to have something to do with some American interest somewhere. So, like, yeah, like maybe like Alaska, state-funded media, might be able to have independent journalism. But dude, if you're funded by the U.S. government, like, no fucking way, no fucking way.
I agree it wouldn't work here. Right. Now, I mean, like, if all 50 states had their own, like, government-funded media, right, and they all reported about each other, we could be okay. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be...
Yeah, like if there was the Pennsylvania media, and, like, you're not allowed to shit-talk Pennsylvania, but you can shit-talk all the other states, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then, like, you have, like, the California media who's not allowed to talk shit about California, but they could shit-talk everybody the fuck else. Right, and that way you could hear what's bad about Pennsylvania from the California people, right? Probably more from like Maryland and New Jersey and Ohio and New York, but like that's how it would work. Because in general, private media kind of sucks. Do you know what calumnies are?
No.
All right, calumnies are like ancient laws. Right, that used to be like put on media where it's like, you couldn't really just like lie. You know what I'm saying? If you were caught lying, then like you could be charged with a crime. Right?
We still have those. It's called like libel and shit.
Mm-mm.
Well, didn't they used to have a law congressional thing where they kept re-upping it, but under Obama they did not renew it, so it allowed the government agencies to spread propaganda to the American people.
I remember hearing something about that. Yeah, it was like
I'm driving, or I would look it up myself.
All right.
I apologize.
Okay, calumnies. Right, the making of false or defamatory statements about someone in order to damage their reputation or slander. Right.
Yeah, it's like libel and shit.
Yeah, like it comes from Latin, right? I mean, they used to have this in the Roman Empire.
I think it was the Smith, MUNDT, Act of 43.
Yeah. God damn it. Fucking work. Stupid thing. Anyway. right? Fucking yeah, but calumnies are like fucking. They used to be rules that you know. What I mean, like you couldn't just slander or libel somebody, right? Or else you could be charged with a crime. And that kind of kept
I had to
newspapers
pull
in check
over.
a little bit. And wait, you want to know what? What do you want to know?
Here it was back in 2013. Here you go. I'm gonna put it in the VC chat. Give me just a second. There it is.
Wait, it allowed. Wait.
Now I gotta get back on the road.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. The Smith Munn modernization, right?
So was that okay?
Yeah. The U.S. agency. I'll share this tab. The U.S. Agency for Global Media and the media organizations it support can now make their content available in broadcast quality upon request in the United States. This is due to a law that went into effect July 2nd, 2013, U.S. Information and Educational Exchange Act, the Smith-Munn Act. According to Smith, this purpose was part of a strategic plan. Democrat, Washington, sponsored. Allow people to see and hear valuable news reported by the agency's accomplished urgencies. It takes into account modern content platforms not restricted by national boundaries. Will facilitate global connectivity. Okay. Yeah. All right. So there has been no change in the agency's enabling statute, the United States Broadcasting Act, the U.S. International Act 1984, which authorizes the agency to create programs for foreign audiences. The agency is not authorized to begin broadcasting to create programming for audience in the United States. We not seek to change that. The U.S. AGM continues to focus on overseas audiences. Fuck it. So the new legislation eases Smith-Munn restriction and allows the agency and broadcasters to respond positively to requests from within the United States for their content. Much but not all of this program is now available online. Additionally, the agency can consider domestic requests for ongoing fucking blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Smith-Munn Modernization Act.
So under this new
break it up.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I thought it was might be just me. Okay. Exactly. The money laundering is done through several areas. Blah blah blah. 52%.
I went to a bad area.
Faith in democracy.
Under this Trump golden age term, what do you think the over under is of the Patriot Act getting renewed?
100%.
Ooh.
Fair.
I mean, probably, but like it. I think that a lot of Trump's base aren't necessarily huge fans of the Patriot Act. I mean, it is patriotic as fuck, to be fair. All the best acts have, cool sounding names.
Yeah, all accurate.
Yep.
Oh, did you know Lego is anti-LGBT because the bricks have male and female parts that are made to mate with each other?
That's true. That is true.
I support this whole goddamn heartedly.
Wow. You know what? Friends, Legos are just marbles.
Oh, wait. Back to shit.
I mean, dude, I like Legos. If the media wants to paint Legos as being based in red pilled, like, fuck yeah.
I don't care who you are. Legos is still fun to play with as an older individual.
That's right.
Yeah, I like playing with them with my kids, but I like watching my kids create stuff. It's pretty cool, man. My fucking kids are awesome at Legos. What?
Yeah, but at some point you got to show them who the fuck is boss.
What?
Just own them in Lego building. At some point you got to show them who the fuck is boss and just own them in Lego building.
Yeah, nah, I don't really care. I own them in like running and jumping and shit. Yo.
As you should.
Yeah. Like I feel like everyone's like, oh, you don't beat your kids and like fucking races and shit. Like I do. Fuck that. Get good. You know what I mean? Learn how to run. I'm trying to see this properly. National something Institutes of Science, right? It says that fucking NASA spent $500,000 on Politico subscriptions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the White House press secretary was like, they're in the process of canceling all those subscriptions. I was like, wow.
So I did hear that like apparently with some of these subscriptions, like Politico offers like a really good service if you're in the government because it keeps you informed of all the happenings or whatever, and it's all in a nice little fight. Like they have like professional Politico or whatever the fuck for businesses and arms of the government, and I've never seen it myself, but apparently it's a useful tool. I don't fucking know.
I mean, why?
Allegedly.
Why do you need Politico at NASA? I mean, I can understand like listen, I can understand like you have a giant contract with like Microsoft 360 and like fucking whatever, you know what I mean, Windows Outlook, whatever nonsense, you know what I mean, fucking maybe I was just using it earlier.
It's just a Microsoft 365 subscription that you're talking about. Like they're all rolled up into one.
No, they're not.
Adobe is a different one. Adobe is a different one.
No, okay, so like
Outlook
and
Office 365 encompasses all of the Microsoft products.
Okay,
depending on the license.
Yeah, right. But like Adobe's different. But like what I'm saying is,
Yes,
though, is like you have to have those on each computer legally.
You don't.
No. Legally, you do when you work for like the government.
Unless
you don't, and that's okay. So, as somebody who's worked for the government in IT, you don't, and that's so fucking retarded that they got to sit there and try to say that they got to prop up Adobe by going through the subscription model. You fucking don't. There's literally so many PDF options out there that allow you to have free subscriptions that don't cost the American taxpayer a goddamn thing, but they still insist on utilizing Adobe Acrobat Reader because
no. I'm not saying that, right? Like that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you could use a different program, but I'm saying if you're going to have Adobe, you're gonna have to pay all those subscriptions. That's what I'm saying.
If they choose to use Adobe, 100%. But that's the thing. And I've had so many fucking arguments with higher ups about this, and they are all fucking retarded. You don't have to pay for it. You could have so much more money to spend on things that we could actually utilize, like, I don't know, upgrading these particular computers that are possibly either unclassified or classified from Windows goddamn XP in the year of 2017. Like, can we fucking do that? No. We got to spend all this other money on this other dumb shit. Rant over. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. I mean, like, because I remember working in like big companies. Like I worked for like Samsung at one point, right? And like I'll be honest with you, they use crack versions of fucking everything. Like, but like if we did it legally, like it would cost the company like some fucking millions of goddamn dollars and shit, right? And that's just how it would work. And that's why a lot of these companies still run on like these old ass models. You know what I'm saying?
So I hear what you're saying, but it's a refusal to be secure, because like I hear what you're saying. If you utilize what they've already paid for, yeah, I get that. However, there's so many now new vulnerabilities on different pieces of hardware, software, whatever, that you have to modernize as much as you can to stay ahead of those threats. If you don't do that, you're going to find yourself susceptible to becoming a victim of those threats. And in the federal fucking government, specifically in the armed forces sector, that would probably be a big fucking deal if they weren't run by fucking retards.
I'm sitting here trying to find fucking these old ass programs. Because like what it was, MS DOS based logistic program. Yeah, this is some of the shit. Fucking hang on, I'm trying to find it. Right, like, so
what?
Let me move this fucking tab over. Move to another window. Here we go. Okay, share this tab instead. All right, so this is like what when I pull up to places, right, where they're like for instance like Dollar Generals or like fucking dollar store or Dollar Tree places, right? Like this is the type of shit that they're running their shit on.
The AS500 shit.
Yeah. Well, it's known as D-bill, but like it's usually it doesn't have like the blues and shit. It's all just black and green.
It's black with a green font.
Yeah, green text, MS DOS.
Yeah, it's AS500 shit. AS500 is the shit that it's built on top of, but that's what it is. Yeah. And it works well. Like, don't get me wrong, it works well. It is simplicity is key. However, it is so old, antiquated. It doesn't do what they really needed to do.
Well, the company I run for now, right, which is like a giant ass logistics company that runs all across everywhere, right? Like this is what like their basic shit looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like their program that they put something in to go, all right, let me find this trailer, right? They throw it into something like this. And it's called D-bill, right? DBLL, but I can't find it, right? Right. It doesn't have, like images of it on the internet. Right. But then they'll build other systems on top of it.
No, I 100% get what you're saying. Yeah. It's a very simple program that they utilize. And if set up and programmed correctly, it works fine. It doesn't need to have a bunch of bells and whistles. But with today's logistic environment, you have to have some, in theory, some bells and whistles to be able to handle what you're bringing in with the additional pieces of information that are required per whatever the hell you're hauling.
Yeah, I don't know like how much. I know like you did computers and stuff for a while or whatever, like you did computer work, right?
Over a decade.
Yeah. Like the most modern shit I ever used was SAP. Right.
Isn't that just a payroll system?
No, it's a logistics system.
Okay.
You're talking about POS. Fuck, I'm talking SAP. SAP is
no. POS is just point of sale system where you can. I have worked on that where I've programmed each individual, but to be able to take shit out of inventory as well as bring up shit.
Sitting here trying to find.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like look, yeah, see, like this here, fucking, this is like SAP, fucking, like it basically it tracks all your shipments back and forth, and like you can put in notes and pictures and all that type of shit, and like share it across multiple platforms. Mine ran out of Microsoft Excel.
Okay.
Right. This is more like what it usually looked like, something like this.
Is that the console that was inside the truck?
No, this was in an office. This is like I had an office, an assistant, all that type of shit.
Oh, okay.
And this is also what I think Amazon uses for like their shit too. I mean, but like, yeah, this is I don't know. It's like a big ass. It's called SAP is the company that makes the software.
Okay.
Right. I don't know.
But you said it was called D-Bill?
This is this is SAP. D-Bill's the old shit. D-Bill's from like the fucking 70s or early 80s. That's an MS-DOS based program. Right? SAP's a newer program. This is the newest shit I've ever used is SAP. Right? I also use a system called Procars.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any pictures of it.
I think we're getting a little bit off into the weeds.
I agree, but I don't fucking care. Right? Listen, bro. Like, this is what we do on my channel. We get into the weeds. Who else still fucking here? That's not it. Here it is. On general left. Motherfucking goddamn it. Motherfucker.
I thought it got quieter.
Yeah, he bounced. Anyway, fucking yeah. I don't know. I was just seeing what the fuck. You know, what I mean, who all was here? Okay, so anyway, right? Yeah, we're going through fucking all this shit. Ranked a massive. All right, CEPS has CEPPS and still controls $500 million in active government awards, yet they still funded straight to partisan NGOs. Splitting between the Republican Aligned International Republican Institute and the Democrat National and Democratic Institute. Cash grant. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why this is a thing. I mean,
you don't know why what's a thing.
I mean, there's other countries that learned how to do democracy better, right? Like they just basically pay for like the political campaigns of like people running for government who are serious. Like, you know, you petition, you collect a certain number of names or whatever it is, or you run in like a primary or whatever, right? And then like whoever comes out of that, like the fucking government funds it, and then you don't have to worry about like this dumb shit of having to like fucking get elected and whatnot. It's fucking stupid.
I mean, I don't mind it.
Yeah, UPMC group. Yeah. Like, of course. Like, what? Yes. Why wouldn't the
What's
UPMC?
UPMC?
University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. They run most of the fucking hospitals in Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course they get government. Like, what? Yeah, of course they get government funds. Like, why would they not get funds?
Ooh,
Like,
here's a good question.
What?
Fucking Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
How much funds? How much funding from the federal government did Vanderbilt get? There we go. Don't tell me just yet. I'm about to hop out of the car. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah. See, U.S. debt increased by 600, deficit 710 billion. GDP grew by 100. Meanwhile, the interest on total debt is now 1.2 trillion. Yeah, that is a lot. Oh wait.
Yeah, trillion here, trillion there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money.
It's not even real money at this point.
I agree.
Why did USA?
But that's the whole purpose of this. That's why I hate these fucking people who are just like, I feel bad for employees and like all this stupid shit people talk about on the mentally ill left, right? It's because it does have meaning on some level, like to me. It's just not fucking right. If I work, you fucking work. Unless you legit can't. It's just been taken too far. That's the end of my rant.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have to make jobs available, right? Which is a bit of an issue. You know,
Make jobs available to whom, though?
To Americans. Like, if you're going to fire government
Like,
employees, there should be like some jobs out there for them. And like, if there's not,
yeah, that is true.
They're gonna go, man. Listen, there's no jobs. And be like, yeah, listen, we fucking told you, like, shit's hard out here. Like, you fucking like.
How many H-1B visa fuckers How many H-1B visa fuckers are employed currently by the U.S. government? Is that data available?
Maybe. I don't know. Let me look it up. Wait, hang on. Wait a minute.
Because I did not mind working for the federal government because the federal government, because I had several knee issues or knee episodes, whatever. I wasn't selected to go into any of the armed forces prior to 9/11. Post 9/11, I started getting callbacks, but by then I had a bad taste in my mouth about the whole thing. But I felt like I had a purpose because I actually cared about what I was working on when I was working with them. Although right now I'm kind of glad I don't have a government job. That's just my view on how I viewed the job that I had at the time. And I've had a couple different levels of security clearance intermixed in between those government jobs.
Employee. Okay, hang on.
I hear you. Everybody's got a story, but you know, if it's musical chairs. If there aren't enough chairs for everybody, eventually people are gonna just stop fucking playing.
Fair.
Like, there's room in the system for the one missing chair. Nobody even wants to play. If it's like 15 people and there's 3 chairs, you're gonna look around like, why the fuck are we doing this?
So, but you got to think though, how many chairs were added for people who are underqualified just because they felt just because they checked a box, an arbitrary box of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Well, yeah, that's the grift. That's just lowering
Yeah.
costs. At that point, that's just that's the next tier of the fucking thought process, right? That's like
we don't. Yeah, there is no numbers.
That seems sketchy right there.
It does seem sketchy, right? But I doubt there's a lot of them.
So, I hear what you're saying. However, depending on the people who I needed to contact for support, I may get an American, I may get an Indian.
I mean, that's about
and that
like
was
whether or not they're using the whatchamacallit.
there are other kinds of visas too. I mean, H-1B just got like used on the
also
news.
fair.
I believe
federal government workers requiring sponsorship. How about that?
Yeah.
No, they don't have it.
So
Sweden
when they
shooting
talk about
victims. Have you
geniuses,
heard
that's
about
the
what happened in
one,
Sweden?
I believe. How they brought in a bunch of Somalians and they're having like grenade fights and blowing up buildings.
No.
Another Muslim gang rape.
All right, so fucking Sweden.
I like how he didn't say no to either.
Okay. Okay, so 10 people were killed.
Based. I mean, terrible. I don't know what I mean anymore. Which is the good news and which is the bad news nowadays?
Yeah, 10
it's
people
so hard
were
to keep
shot
track
at
of what's
an
a
adult school.
Well, to be fair, were they actual Swedes or were they multicultural Swedes that got shot?
If they were wearing a red hat, good news, and if they weren't, bad news. I think that's how it goes nowadays.
How many we shot were burqa clad?
Most of them.
Oh wow. I was expecting it to go the other way.
This is why we have questions.
I believe this is what the rich people who put these kinds of things into motion actually want anyway. I think they get some kind of sick pleasure
so the
out of it.
gunman behind Sweden's worst ever shooting has been named by Sweden a 35-year-old Rickard Anderson. So he killed 10 people and he shot himself. He's a loner.
The worst ever was 10 fucking
suffered
people.
with mental health problem and a license for multiple hunting rifles and repeatedly refused military service. The outlet added on Tuesday, attended reports of shooting out of west of Stockholm. Before exchanging a bullet with the subject, is terrified. Students scrambled. The gunman changed into green military clothing in the school toilet before he carried out the killings, carrying 3 guns and a knife. Police described the screams as an inferno and believe the gunman turned his weapon on himself. 3 guns, 10 empty magazines, and a large amount of unused ammunition next to his body. Officials told the news that at least one rifle-like weapon was used in the attack.
New conspiracy. New conspiracy. What if all of these self-deletion mass shooters are actually really advanced AI bots?
I mean, we could only wish that they were advanced AI bots. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how do we know? How would you or I know?
I mean,
we wouldn't know.
We wouldn't. You know what I mean?
We're not that deep on the insides. We're not part of the autopsy team or recovery team. Just something to think about. That'll appeal to all the people who think that a whole bunch of I'm going to say it, sports ball players are also robots.
I don't stop saying sports ball. Seriously,
I have to say it.
Seriously, it makes you sound like a fucking midwit.
I don't care. I am a midwit. It's appropriate.
It makes you sound like somebody who has taken 1, maybe 2 penises or more up your anus.
That's also fair.
It does make you sound like a midwit, Brad. You don't want to be on their side.
Oh my God! Have you guys seen the sports ball? It's so amazing.
I want to say the midwits appropriated me.
Why do you guys watch sports ball? Don't you know
exactly.
Real Housewives are on?
Facts.
Oh my God, they love sports ball too.
You guys just keep selling it.
I love sports ball. I have 2 jerseys that are half Travis Kelce and half Jason Kelce, and so I go for the Kelce clan.
Yeah, exactly. You guys make fun of me for saying that, yet the people who defend it are literally part of real life.
Hold on, pause. Who the fuck defends it?
With fucking Taylor Swift and that football guy. That really, that's what's being defended here? Okay, cool. Manly as fuck. Yeah, I'm the fag. Got it. Roger.
Yeah, I mean,
yours one with a dick in your mouth, to be fair.
No. Okay, so the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, the reason for this being played up is to get women involved because women spend money,
I understand.
Right?
I know, I get it.
Taylor Swift's super popular. They're paying,
but they don't need women. Dudes have been buying other dudes' names and putting them on their back.
Okay, again, women spend 80% of consumer fucking goods. They buy 80% of the economy, right?
Hold on, let's just be honest here. Everybody knows Travis, Jason Kelce, the Kelce clan, all voted for Trump.
Probably.
I mean, let's just be real.
I agree. Right. But the whole point is to bring women into the brand. That's the whole point of breast cancer awareness and all the fucking pro women bullshit that they do all the goddamn time. It's marketing, right? That's all. It's fucking marketing.
And I'm glad that they're ending the stupid bullshit in the end zone.
Yes.
Where it says end racism, because the league's 95% black. There's 7 white dudes per team. Calm the fuck down. Racism's been ended in the NFL for a long time. Let's just get real. The best coach in the league right now is he's a white guy for the Kansas City Chiefs, but the other one is a really good coach for the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been the whitest team ever.
No. We
got to end racism.
Mike Tomlin,
shut the fuck up.
Mike Tomlin, a.k.a. Omar Epps, is not one of the best coaches in the fucking league. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, bro.
They're not trying to. They don't have the message at football because they're talking about football. They're talking about LA police.
Fuck
No,
LA
talk about
police. Like, we
football.
don't give a fuck. They're not on the field going 1-on-1, 11 on 11. Fuck the LA police.
When Colin Kaepernick, when what's his face, the guy with the rich white parents takes a knee on the NFL TV screen, it's the protest like George Floyd. That was all about like Metropolitan Police somewhere USA. They're not
Look,
putting that
I'll go ahead
in
and
the
say it.
stadium because of the fucking league.
Look, I'll go ahead and say it. Colin Kaepernick sucked Roger Goodell's dick to be able to have that much exposure and not get fined.
No, he got bounced
Prove
out of
me
the
wrong.
league and nobody wanted anything to do with him ever again.
No, that was GMs and people who are actually teams. I'm talking about for him to get that much exposure. He sucked Roger Goodell's dick. Prove me wrong.
No. He played for the Niners, right? The Niners are one of them like legacy. I'm a Niners fan, right? Like, it's a legacy like fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's.
What's wrong with you?
Yo, man, listen. I grew up under Joe Montana. All right, you know what I mean? I'm an Italian. He was an Italian. He's from Pittsburgh. Like, my family's from Pittsburgh. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Right? He grew up down the block from my grandmother. Right?
Hey, yo, fucking guy.
Exactly. Right. So like, like I was a Niners fan. I was just how the hell it operated. It was him or Marino back in the fucking 80s and shit. And I picked fucking Joe Montana because he actually won the games and shit. Right. But yeah. So like that's why Colin Kaepernick got so much exposure is because he was on a team that was going to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl every other fucking year. That's why he got exposure. It had absolutely nothing to do with him sucking Roger Goodell's fucking dick. And then the anti-Trump shit, because it was 2016.
He only made it once.
Why not both?
No, him and Alex Smith made it like 2 or 3 times in a row to the NFC Championship.
Hold on. Okay, that's a very good distinction. Him and Alex Smith. Once Alex Smith went to another team, all of a sudden he was very irrelevant.
Hang on, I'm gonna get the number for you. Hang on a second. 49ers.
Get the numbers if you want, motherfucker. I'm just gonna sit here and talk shit regardless of the numbers.
Hang on, I'm gonna get the numbers, bro. Right. All right. So, well, we've been in the past.
If you're gonna be honest about the numbers, also you gotta compare Alex Smith pre-broke leg to post-broke leg. I know that happened with the Redskins.
Yeah, it happened with the Redskins.
I know that happened with the Redskins. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, all right. So he went to the Super Bowl in 2013.
Against the Ravens, and he did that cool thing called losing.
Yeah, we lost. We got our asses kicked. Yo, listen, they're too small, I think, up front, to be honest with you. Right. College, 2015.
Ray Lewis is crazy ass, traumatized. I don't know how many wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks. I don't give a fuck who you are. Somebody who got off from killing somebody and is sitting there going, I'm going to murder your whole family on the other side of the first down marker from you is like, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to kill you, motherfucker. You're going to 100% have some traumatic experiences regarding that.
All right, so I'm sitting here looking. He played from 2011 to 2016. He was not that bad of a fucking quarterback either, right? What was his rating? His rating was 81, 98, 91, 86, 78, and 90. Now, in the playoffs,
At the same time, he was a what they call a distraction in the locker room.
Oh,
so
100%,
regardless of the 81,
like,
81, he was a 4 at most. So anytime you're a distraction in the goddamn locker room, you are a goddamn 4.
Why was he a distraction?
Because he's a dumb cunt.
Why? I bet you don't know the stories that I know, right?
Oh boy.
Okay. Give me the fucking lore on Colin goddamn Kaepernick that was
so Colin
raised by
Kaepernick-
white people, but he's got to sit there, holding up the fist for black people. Tell me more about this faggot.
Yeah, so Colin Kaepernick, he stole fucking one of the defensive fucking linemen's or defensive it was a middle linebacker. He stole the middle linebacker's fucking girlfriend, right? And literally, I think it was Trent Williams. It might have been Trent Williams. He fucking stood there and like fucking Trent Williams showed up with a gun trying to shoot fucking Colin Kaepernick and wrecked his fucking car into his at a fucking bar and shit, right? Just rammed his shit and came out with a fucking gun trying to shoot him, right? Like he was a for real
Based, I see nothing wrong with it.
Yo, he was a for real distraction, right? It wasn't just like, his whole, I'm taking a knee, Black Lives Matter, Black Power bullshit, right? It wasn't just that, right? It was.
Hold on.
More.
I want to be the head coach after this happens, and I want the first team offense to go against the first team defense and just watch everything happen. I am down for this 1,000%.
Yeah. Stole teammate's girlfriend. Alden Smith. There we go. And Alden Smith was not one to fuck with, bro. Like, Alden Smith was a beast, too, right? Colin Kaepernick and Nessa Diab have been romantically linked since 2015. However, there are rumors that they began dating while Dab was still in a relationship with Kaepernick's teammate, Alden Smith, right? Yeah, and Alden Smith.
I'm sure Mr. Smith was just a small, petite, just insignificant individual.
No, he was a linebacker. Right, Alden Smith.
So he was like 5'11", like 125, like nothing really to be worried about.
Yeah, apparently he fought Alden Smith and shit, and on top of that, I think somebody it was Geno Smith who got punched in the face. Fucking.
Wasn't that by Romanowski? Or am I thinking about a different one?
It might have been. Right, but like, yo, these are like, see, and this is the problem with like saying sports ball, right? Because there's like all this cool shit that like, you fucking is in the background. And then like you had these guys having these record breaking seasons and they're top end of male performance. And like, when your kid's playing a sport, he wants to be that motherfucker when he gets older. And like he's driving and working and fucking grinding himself to get there and shit and building himself into being a better person. Like this is what you're supposed to have in your society, right? This is who you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And this is why you can't just go, oh, fucking,
I do.
Sports ball. But, Mountain thinks it's just sports ball.
Yeah, it is fucking sports ball. When I was a kid, we dressed like Rambo and ran through the woods throwing shit at each other.
Rambo was a completely made up individual. There's nothing real about Rambo. It was literally propaganda from the American government.
It worked.
Pause. Rambo was actually modeled after Roy Benavidez.
I mean, yeah, but again,
not verbatim, but he was modeled after Roy Benavidez.
In the first,
Roy Benavidez was 1,000% real.
In the first movie, you know what I'm saying? Like in the first movie,
I'm using all of the. I'm going off of the person who. What the fuck? I just came up on a car that's in a ditch like a motherfucker. It's got one of those stickers on it, but. Jesus. But Roy Benavidez had a I think he was a Medal of Honor winner. I'm not 100% on that. I don't remember if he did or not, but he was part of MARSOC and Anyway, Bad Electrician did a video on him, and he was a badass son of a bitch. And the channel that does the kind of crappy cartoon versions of historic figures. They did one on Roy. I ain't messing with Roy in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah. So, Audie Murphy.
Also a badass in his own right.
David Morrell wrote fucking First Blood after Audie Murphy and his struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder after the war. Yeah, fucking one of those veterans was a former Special Forces member or Medal of Honor recipient.
So what's fucked up is that 9 times out of 10, what actually happened for them to earn the Medal of Honor is a watered down version of what they actually did, because what they actually did is so unbelievable and so outlandish that apparently the American people weren't ready for it at the time.
Yeah, I'm sitting here reading about Benavidez. Hang on, I'm gonna share this tab. Let me move it to.
He's a legit badass.
All right, in real life,
He's like, we need help.
Rambo.
He jumped
Master
up.
Sergeant, Sergeant Paul Perez Roy Benavidez, aka Tango Mike, a member of the Green Berets and veteran who fought in the Vietnam War not once but twice. His gallantry seemed second to none, but he sacrificed himself. Went on a one-man rampage to save his comrade and ensured classified information didn't get the wrong hands of the communists. If only they turned Perez's life into a real Hollywood film, John Rambo would look like a second-rate hero. Benavidez was born in Lindu,
Texas, I believe.
Texas, in DeWitt County, August 5th, 1935. He's a native of Benavidez, Texas. Was the son of a Mexican-American farmer and Yaqui Indian mother, Teresa Perez. Benavidez became an orphan at an early age. His father died of tuberculosis when he was 2. 5 years later, his mother passed away with the same illness. Benavidez and his younger brother Roger moved to El Campo, where their grandfather, uncle, and aunt raised them along with 8 cousins. Growing up, life had been rough for Benavidez. He attended school sporadically, but he only experienced bully. God damn it! Dropped out, worked full time. Listed the Texas National Guard.
Pnoid, pause real quick.
What up?
Is this the first time you've heard about Roy?
Yeah.
No shit. Oh, you're gonna love this. Keep going.
Man, listen, I gotta fucking find.
Keep reading. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Keep
I
reading.
Can't.
Yes, you can. That or bring up the fat electrician video and let's watch that motherfucker, because he is legit badass as hell.
Okay, here I got the fat electrician fucking joint. Wait, here we'll do the forgotten history one, right? Because it's shorter. Because I don't want to listen.
Okay. Oh, after you hear the forgotten history one, you'll want to hear about the other
During
one.
the Vietnam War,
Guaranteed.
236 Medals of Honor were awarded, with 156 presented posthumously, and since 1978 a further 33 awards have been presented. Of the 269 medals in total, 180 were awarded to the U.S. Army, 15 to the U.S. Navy, 58 to the United States Marine Corps, and 14 to the United States Air Force. War has a way of creating legends, but a few stories of heroism rival the greatest fiction. In the heart of the Vietnam War, wounded, outnumbered, and facing impossible odds, one man defied death itself again and again to save his fellow soldiers. His actions would earn him the Medal of Honor and a place in military history. But his path to valor wasn't just forged on the battlefield. It was built upon a lifetime of grit, sacrifice, and an unbreakable will.
What time is it anyway?
Those who earned that distinction of receiving the Medal of Honor spanned every presidency from Lyndon B. Johnson forward, as 33 Medals of Honor were retroactively awarded to various men due to lost recommendation paperwork, oversight, or a reevaluation of their actions. One of these was U.S. Army Special Forces Master Sergeant Roy P. Benavidez, a soldier, hero, and a symbol of what the human spirit can endure. Who was Roy Benavidez? What actions earned him the Medal of Honor? Why was his award delayed? What is his legacy? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and Marine Corps veteran, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History. Roy Perez Benavidez was born August 5, 1935, in Lindenau, Texas, and he was a descendant of the founders of Benavides, Texas. He grew up in abject poverty. His father, Salvador Benavides Jr., was a Mexican farmer who died of tuberculosis when he was 2 years old. His mother, Teresa Perez, was a Yaqui Indian who remarried, but she also died from tuberculosis only 5 years later. And Roy and his younger brother, Roger, moved to El Campo, where their grandfather, uncle, and aunt raised them, along with 8 cousins. Roy Benavides shined shoes at the local bus station and worked on farms in Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado, and also worked at a tire shop in El Campo. But he had to drop out of school at age 15 to work supporting the family. Then Benavides enlisted in the Texas Army National Guard in 1952 during the Korean War. In June 1955, he joined the Army active duty, completed airborne training, and was assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He married Hilaria Lala Coy in 1959. Then Benavides returned to Fort Bragg and became a member of the 5th Special Forces Group as a weapons specialist and cross-trained as a medic. In 1965, he went to South Vietnam, where he went on a solo reconnaissance mission to gather intelligence on enemy troops, and he stepped on a landmine during a patrol and was evacuated to Fort Sam Houston's Brooke Army Medical Center. He was told that he would never walk again.
I woke up at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines. I was declared never to walk again.
And they began preparing his medical discharge papers, but he was determined to recover, and at night, against medical orders, he walked doing his own physical therapy. After more than a year of hospitalization, Benavides walked out of the hospital in July 1966 with his wife at his side, but the chronic pain endured, and he...
Yo, hang on, man. I don't want to insult a veteran. But, bruh, that's a dude.
Yeah, she was rough looking, or he was rough looking. Fuck it, it's a Mexican. What can you expect? Keep going.
Look at the dude he's with, though. Yo, that is a dude.
I mean, that's Mike Pence's dad.
Yo, listen. Yo, that's a dude.
With his wife at his side, but the chronic pain endured, and he returned to South Vietnam in January 1968. On May 2, 1968, west of Loc Ninh, a 12-man Special Forces patrol with 9 Montagnards was surrounded by 1,000 NVA. Benavides heard the call on the radio and boarded a helicopter to respond. He arrived by jumping from the helicopter from a height of 30 to 40 feet off the ground, carrying only his medical bag and a knife as he ran to help the patrol. As he approached the patrol, he was attacked and bayoneted by an enemy soldier. He pulled out the bayonet and, using his own knife, killed the NVA soldier, leaving his own knife in the man's abdomen and taking the dead man's AK-47, with which he killed 2 more enemy soldiers while providing cover fire for the people boarding the helicopter. The battle to secure the landing zone and evacuate the wounded as well as the dead lasted 6 hours, during which time Benavides was eventually shot a total of 37 times and had multiple shrapnel wounds. During all of this, he had managed to carry at least 10 soldiers to the various helicopters landing on the Hot LZ, and he was wounded each time, but he fought back, securing the extraction point, which he kept from being overrun. The numbers of the enemy he killed is still unknown. After the last medevac bird landed, Benavides needed help and was lifted into the chopper, where he passed out from blood loss. Believed to be dead upon landing, he was placed in a body bag at the base camp until a friend checked on him, and a doctor responded. Unbelievably, he was still alive. This detailed report pieced together all of the other fragmented accounts given by the 8 men that Benavides had saved, as well as the accounts from the medevac pilots picking up the wounded and the dead, who did not know who Benavides was.
Wow, his wife aged terribly. Did you see her there?
100%. So, whenever he was attempting to be zipped up in the zipping bag in the body bag, he spit in the doctor's face and said he's still alive. That's a point that they missed.
I mean, like, okay.
You're such a badass. You just took out a bunch of NVA. You just can't move right now, but the only thing you can muster is to spit in this fucker's face and let him know that you're still alive. Don't zip me up, motherfucker. I think that's an awesome, badass thing to not leave out. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Your humble narrator had the great fortune to know Roy and spoke with him on a few occasions as we had mutual friends. Despite his unbelievable exploits and his fierce courage as a warrior, he was actually one of the nicest and most humorous men I ever met, as well as quite humble. When I asked him what was going through his mind during that 6-hour firefight against hundreds of enemies determined to kill all of them, he said this: "You can't think about what if, only what you can do. I knew that some of those men were dead, and all were wounded, including me, but I'll be damned if I will ever let a dead soldier fall into enemy hands. If they wanted our bodies, then they were going to climb over their own mountain of their own dead to get us." Benavidez once again arrived at Fort Sam Houston, and after another year, he eventually recovered. Due to the various after-action reports when the team was debriefed, he received the Distinguished Service Cross while in the hospital for extraordinary heroism and 4 Purple Hearts in addition to the first one that he had received from stepping on the landmine. Upon recovering in 1969, he was assigned to Fort Riley, Kansas, until 1972 when he was assigned to Fort Sam Houston, Texas, where he remained until retirement. But some of the men Benavidez had helped save had given their after-action reports, which were fragmented and hazy, as all had been wounded, many were on morphine, but they stated his heroism. However, in 1973, Special Forces Lieutenant Colonel Ralph R. Drake had studied the combat action. He read the statements from the Special Forces soldiers and the helicopter pilots who witnessed his courage and insisted that Benavidez receive the Medal of Honor. By then, however, the time limit on the Medal of Honor recommendation had long expired, and a successful appeal to Congress did result in an exemption for Benavidez's case, but the Army Decorations Board denied him an upgrade of his Distinguished Service Cross to the Medal of Honor. That was because the Army required an eyewitness account from someone present during the action, and Benavidez believed that there were no living witnesses of the events of that day who could provide a full report. This was due to so many men being dead and wounded who were thrown onto helicopters by Benavidez, and they did not all know him or remember what had happened clearly. It seemed that the matter was finally put to rest, but there was in fact a living witness who could detail everything that Benavidez did during those 6 hours. His name was Brian O'Connor, and he was living in the Fiji Islands. He was the radioman on their Special Forces team in Vietnam, and he had been severely wounded, and Benavidez thought he was dead when he threw him on one of the helicopters under intense fire, which also saw Benavidez shot a few more times, but O'Connor did survive and was evacuated to the United States before he could be fully debriefed by the S-2. In 1980, while on a holiday trip in Australia, O'Connor read a newspaper account of Benavidez, originally published in an El Campo newspaper, which had been picked up by the United Press International and reprinted in Australia. O'Connor immediately contacted Benavidez and submitted a 10-page report of the encounter. O'Connor's report made its way up the chain of command and landed on the desk of the Secretary of the Army. After reading O'Connor's report confirming the accounts provided by others, Benavidez's Distinguished Service Cross was upgraded to the Medal of Honor. Roy Benavidez is an Army Special Forces legend, and he was a good man. On February 24, 1981, President Ronald Reagan presented Roy Benavidez with the Medal of Honor in the Pentagon. Reagan turned to the press and said, "If the story of his heroism were a movie script, you would not believe it." Reagan then read the official award citation stating that Benavidez has distinguished himself by a series of daring and extremely valorous actions, and because of his gallant choice to join voluntarily his comrades who were in critical straits, to expose himself constantly to withering enemy fire, and his refusal to be stopped despite numerous severe wounds, and saved the lives of at least 8 men. Roy Benavidez himself wrote 3 autobiographical books about his life and military experiences, and he has many schools, parks, and other locations named after him. The portion of Texas State Highway 71 in Wharton County, Texas, where Benavidez grew up, located between Colorado County line and FM 2765, is designated the Roy Benavidez Memorial Highway. The USNS Benavidez, a U.S. Navy Bob Hope-class roll-on, roll-off cargo vessel, is named in his honor. There is also the Roy P. Benavidez American Legion Post No. 400 in San Antonio, Texas, and Roy P. Benavidez Armor Reserve Center and Naval Air Station, Corpus Christi, Texas. There were discussions in Congress about renaming Fort Hood as Fort Benavides as a part of an ongoing movement to rename installations and institutions originally carrying the names of Confederate generals by the Biden administration, which did rename some bases. Roy Perez Benavides died on November 29, 1998, at the age of 63 at Brooke Army Medical Center, having suffered respiratory failure and complications of diabetes. He laid in state at St. Robert Bellarmine Catholic Church, where he and his 3 children were married and all attended Mass every Sunday. His body was returned to Fort Sam Houston's main chapel for a public viewing. Family friend Archbishop Patrick Flores of the Archdiocese of San Antonio presided over a funeral mass at San Fernando Cathedral.
All right. So, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's not Rambo, though.
Yeah. Yes, man.
You know what I mean? That's not really like Rambo.
But he did a small version of what he actually did. Fucking Fat Electrician went all the way into it. That's why that's the better video. That's the more entertaining video. That's where I was like, yeah, well, that, and is it Modern History? Or is that what we just watched?
Yeah. Forgotten History. Forgotten History.
There's one where they use cartoons.
We got
you know what I'm talking about? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Simple History.
Yarn Hub?
No. What? Simple History.
Okay.
Make it. He was.
Apparently, I've watched this before. For anybody that just showed up and was sitting here watching the stream, listen, we're in the weeds and like we're talking about some crazy shit about Rambo.
The Green Beret who went on a one-man rampage. Roy Benavides, the Vietnam War. Roy Benavides' life had been rough as a child. Both his parents had died. He was bullied by his classmates because of his mixed Yaqui Indian and Mexican heritage and had to leave school in 8th grade to help his family. At the age of 19, Benavides joined the Army, serving in the Korean War in the Texas Army National Guard. He married Hilaria Lala Coy Benavides in 1959 and completed airborne training, becoming assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division. In 1966, Sergeant Roy Benavides was in hospital after stepping on a landmine. Doctors said he would never walk again. He had been sent to Vietnam in 1965 as an advisor for the ARVN troops there. Benavides was carrying out a classified operation alone to gather evidence that the North Vietnamese troops were posing as Viet Cong. While he was on patrol along a narrow trail disguised as a Viet Cong guerrilla, he stepped on a landmine. Sometime later, a squad of Marines came across Benavides. They initially thought it was a booby trap, but were surprised when they flipped him over and discovered the man in Viet Cong pajamas was Hispanic and wearing U.S. Army dog tags. He was soon evacuated to the hospital. In hospital in the U.S. 2 months later, Benavides had recovered and awoke. His memories came back to him. The doctor told him he would never walk again. His spine had been damaged, and his brain had rattled in his skull.
See you.
Nevertheless, Benavides, sitting in his wheelchair, begged the doctors not to discharge him from the Army. The Army was his life. Determined, Benavides got up from his bed night after night, dragging himself to the wall and putting weight on his legs. For weeks, he pushed through the pain, going further in distance than before, which surprised the doctors. 6 months later, with his wife Lala's support, Roy Benavides walked out of the hospital. He was promised only a desk job at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, but determined and exercising every day, he trained vigorously and qualified for the Special Forces, also known as the Green Berets. He would be assigned to Detachment B-56, 5th Special Forces Group Airborne, 1st Special Forces. 6 hours in hell. Now it was 1968. Staff Sergeant Roy Benavidez, now with the code name Tango Mike Mike, was back in Vietnam and was off duty attending church, but his mind was fixed on the panicking radio chatter from the front lines. In Loc Ninh, Vietnam, near the Cambodian border, a 12-man Special Forces reconnaissance team, which included his close friends, Sergeant First Class Leroy Wright, Staff Sergeant Lloyd Frenchie Mousseau, Specialist 4 Brian O'Connor, and 9 Montagnard tribesmen who were part of the Civilian Irregular Defense Group Program, or CIDG, were surrounded by a battalion numbering 1,000 battle-hardened North Vietnamese soldiers. Everyone in the unit had been wounded or killed in earlier fighting, and 3 of the helicopters sent to rescue them had been unable to extract them due to heavy enemy fire. When the helicopters returned, they were riddled with bullets. One of them, the door gunner, Michael Craig, aged 19, had been hit several times and died in Benavidez's arms. There was no way Benavidez was going to leave his friends out in the jungle. Benavidez jumped onto a returning helicopter that was going back in, volunteering so quickly that he didn't have time to get his M16, so was only armed with a Bowie knife and medical supplies. Benavidez described it as going into autopilot. As he was approaching the extraction zone, Benavidez realized his fellow team members were too severely wounded to run the distance to the helicopter. There was so much enemy gunfire that the pilot, Larry McKibben, had to zigzag in an attempt to dodge it, but was nevertheless able to provide covering fire. Benavidez jumped out with a medical bag, ran through the jungle to the wounded men under heavy enemy fire, taking a shot to the leg, which he initially thought was a thorn bush. He found Mousseau first against a tree whose eyeball had been shot out and was hanging down his cheek, but was determined to keep shooting back. The CIDG were in a pool of blood and patched up as best they could. Benavidez dragged everyone into a defensible position to direct their fire at the enemy and provided morphine to the wounded. He then saw O'Connor and an interpreter CIDG who he motioned to move over to him, but the gunfire started again and they took cover. Another round then hit Benavidez in his thigh. On adrenaline, he popped the green smoke for McKibben in the rescue helicopter to pick them up. While everyone who could move got into the chopper, he suppressed the tree line with an AK-47 he had picked up to cover O'Connor and the interpreter who crawled towards the helicopter. Now Benavidez was looking for the team leader, Sergeant First Class Leroy Wright, who had been killed and who also had intel on him that could not get into enemy hands. Benavidez found his body and proceeded to drag him to the chopper when he was shot again, this time in the stomach, and hit in the back by shrapnel from a nearby grenade, knocking him out. When he awoke, Benavidez was forced to leave his dead friend's body. Disaster had also struck. The chopper had crashed to the ground from enemy fire. The pilot, McKibben, was dead. 5 of the men on board, including Mousseau, survived the crash, as did O'Connor and the interpreter who didn't get into the helicopter. Benavidez pulled them out of the wreckage, dispensed morphine, set up a perimeter around the crash site, and called in heavy air support from the F-100s above, which dropped napalm on the enemy position. When the jets ran out of fuel and had to leave, the enemy machine gun fire started again. Benavidez gave O'Connor a 3rd shot of morphine and took another bullet to the leg. Their position was surrounded by North Vietnamese soldiers. It looked hopeless. But a helicopter finally came to their rescue. Benavidez and the rescue team carried and dragged the wounded men onto the chopper, but the landing zone was still being fired upon by NVA troops, to the extent that 2 men were shot in the back as they crawled to it. Shrapnel wounds to his face from earlier caused Benavidez's vision to be blurred from the blood in his eyes. When he went to get Mousseau, an NVA soldier butted his rifle into Benavidez's head and jaw and slashed his arm with his bayonet. He shouted to O'Connor to shoot, but he was too drugged from morphine to react. Benavidez pulled out his Bowie knife and stabbed the NVA soldier till he was dead. He then dragged Mousseau to the helicopter and killed 2 more NVA with an AK-47 who were out of the helicopter's side gunner's arc of fire. And then he made one more trip to get the interpreter and destroy any classified material, with blood still obscuring his vision. Only then did he allow the others to pull him onto the helicopter, the last man to leave the battlefield. At this point, the round that had hit his stomach had exposed his intestines, which he was trying to hold in with his hands. The helicopter, badly shot up and with no instruments left, managed to take off.
All right, people. Well, you know what I'm saying? I was about to say, man, listen, everybody fucking left. I was about to shut the fucking stream down.
No, I just had to take a phone call. It just fucked up on me.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. I don't know. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. But, like, yeah, man, fucking, like, I don't think he's Rambo, but you know what I mean? Like, fucking, he's a fucking, U.S. military soldier, just how that shit works. Oh, I don't know, something happened.
Like, he's a legitimate badass. Like, the type and breed of people like Roy Benavidez isn't something that's as common nowadays as apparently it was back then. But
nah, man,
so
listen, I'm not gonna say,
well,
like, our boys today are getting it done, bro. Like they them dudes. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they them dudes.
I was about to say, I say that, but they really haven't been tested like Roy was, to be fair. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, he had to hold his fucking guts in and still, take out some NBA, but still, he lived to a ripe old age of whatever the fuck. Of what he was not supposed to live to, so.
Well, he was like 66, you know what I mean?
I mean, after everything that he had gone through, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, he died of like diabetes and shit. And I imagine, like fucking eventually that arthritis gets to be a motherfucker.
That shrapnel, every time he goes to get an MRI, it gets jiggled around. Turn your insides into fucking chop suey. Well, I just about took out a raccoon.
Shit.
But yeah, if you want to shut it down, man, and head to bed.
I'm gonna shut it down. I'm not really gonna head to bed, but like I'm gonna shut it the fuck down and what I mean, like fucking hang it up for the fucking night, whatever. I'm gonna watch some fucking TV and hang out. Probably make some food or something. But like, yo, man, listen, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Y'all know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. Fucking Yoda, motherfucking Mountain General. Thank you everybody for coming through. Walter, Cappy. Y'all know what it is. I'm gonna holla at y'all, motherfucker.